Assessors according to law. So help me God.
It's happened before, but it is nonetheless still rather extraordinary that somebody who was only elected or officially sworn in as an MP less than 24 hours ago, in 3 weeks' time, is going to be running the country.
Yes, I think it is rather extraordinary. I think the issue isn't whether someone like that should automatically have to hold a general election. If Andy Burnham wants to introduce major changes to our constitution, he's talked about overhauling the House of Lords. He's also talked about overhauling our electoral system, bringing in some form of PR. I think if he wants to do any of those things, he needs a mandate from the public to do them. To try and do them without calling an election, I think, would be a constitutional outrage.
I've got an interesting tweet. There's always a tweet, Julia.
Yep.
If I can just read this out to you from Andy Burnham 3 years ago. We need to start demanding a general election at the end of this Tory leadership election. Well, well, well. That was Andy Burnham actually 4 years ago in 2022. So we're saying stick by your word, be consistent, Andy, and when you're Prime Minister, call a general election.
The battle is really on, though, for number 11. Who's going to be the Chancellor? Ed Miliband, don't forget, has played an integral key role in this coup, and it is a coup because no one apart from 25,000 good people of Makerfield have voted for this guy. Yeah. So he's played a pretty integral role in undermining Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband aren't really speaking. He's going to want a big reward. But, he is, probably the most left-wing person in the government, and he will spook the markets.
Lou Hay, I mean, the reality is, look, she served her time. She was cast out of government. The reality is, as you said, she has been central to his campaign. She was central to his campaign in Makerfield. More broadly, she's been central to his campaign to enter Downing Street. He owes her, and she will definitely get a role. I'm not.
What do you say to the people that have texted me in their droves this morning? This is a really corny sentence, but it's true. That lawbreakers can't be lawmakers, Dan?
Yeah, I mean.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
What's that?
I don't know. It's very nice.
Oh, I feel like I've just sort of accidentally become a kids' TV presenter.
Oh, I was going to say someone was about to hand me a daiquiri. We had very different reactions to that.
Maybe the two go hand in hand.
Well, you know
what those people are like in the kids' entertainment industry. They, they have to unwind after.
I was going to say, and that's the level already.
Done, gone. Well, that's it. Bye, folks. We're already being taken off air. Yeah. Anyway, happy Saturday. Welcome aboard at Barnsley and Phillips with their array of marvellous jingles, their bespoke jingles, and their quiz. I don't know what I'm talking about as in the third person.
Yeah, which is really weird because you're looking at me at the same time.
I know. This has all started in a strange manner.
Yes.
But, let's start as we mean to go on. I like strange.
Yes, yeah.
All right, there you go. Hello. Hi. I hope you've got a nice cup of tea, a nice pot of coffee, an orange juice, an apple juice, a cranberry juice, or whatever you fancy. Maybe a smoothie. If you're having a protein shake, slightly judging you. 03444991000 is the number to call if you want to chinwag with us today. Get something off your chest, have a bit of fun. Most importantly, however, those of you who have become regular listeners know that we do enjoy a bespoke jingle, an announcement, a bit of an MC contribution.
Definitely.
And if you think that your voice can limber up to the task, then use the voice note facility on WhatsApp and send us something dynamic and delightful in ditty format. 03444991000 for that. And 8722 on the text messages. Write talk before you text. Ooh, it's a bit hot and sticky. How are you surviving in that?
Well, I've got shorts on underneath here, so.
I know, but I think the blazer was, a bit
I need someone to put the microphone and to hide all the wires, because we're basically
Just
living.
Put it up.
All right, calm down.
That's how you do it. You have to put it up and put it down.
It's so undignified. It's so undignified. It really is. Yeah.
I know the glamour of television is all fake.
Yes.
There is no glamour to it. I mean, I come in the mornings looking like Rod Stewart, go through the sort of conveyor belt and pop up the other side, half acceptable, and then have to be sort of wired into things as if I'm on life support.
Yeah. Good luck going to the toilet.
I never do that. I mean, I'm going to have kidney stones at some point in later life.
I don't know how Mark Dolan does it. He literally sprints backwards and forwards all the time.
Can't he last 3 hours
Well,
like an adult?
It must be, you know, bladder the size of an egg cup, as my mother would say.
Yeah, he's a
Slight thing.
lean man.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Let's talk about Andy Burnham, who is also a relatively lean man.
Yeah, do you remember when we were all fussing over him running? That seemed like a while
that's
ago.
what they do now. It's the official thing, isn't it? Boris Johnson and his beanie. Did David Cameron start the running thing? I feel like...
Tony Blair did, to make John Major look old and grey.
And now it's almost like if you're a Prime Minister, so you've got to have a personal photographer to take a photo of you running. Although I never saw... Did Starmer run?
No, but he did weirdly start wearing, like, grandad tracksuits at one point.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, like a little zip thing. Yeah.
Oh,
He doesn't strike me as a
Lord
runner.
Ali moment.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Lord Ali. God, that seems ages ago.
I know. So much fun has happened in the past 2 years. We've already lost Starmer.
Yeah.
What a shame.
I know.
I'm going to miss those tiny little hate-filled eyes.
We haven't lost him yet.
No.
No. It's kind of like, go away now. You've announced your resignation. Just
Bye.
leave. Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you go to a family party and people say bye, and then they're still there 45 minutes later, still saying bye to everybody.
That's my dad in the pub.
Yeah.
Every time. Always the last to leave.
Yeah.
Every time.
And then, as the landlord always says, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
You don't have to go home, but collect the glasses, do the hot wash.
Yeah, make yourself of use.
Yeah, clean off the drip mat, mop the floor, and curl up in the corner ready for the deliveries in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lord Case, Simon Case, who used to be Cabinet Secretary, which is basically the highest of the high of the high in the civil service.
Yes, yeah.
You're basically king of king of Whitehall.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
then
there's
tells
two,
Prime
isn't
Ministers. What is that?
Yes, so you have the cabinet secretary and the chief secretary of the Treasury. They split the role up to make it less all focused on one person.
Right.
But they're basically when two people think the same thing, it rather made it pointless because they're supposed to not work together to have some kind of combative nature of it, but yet they just are the same people, so it doesn't make any difference.
A bit like us, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, girl version.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, for the Labour Party, that's not a thing anymore. Don't forget, because Andy Burnham is the first female Prime Minister. Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
But anyway, Simon Case, a sensible old cove that he is, not that old, says that Burnham must be honest with the public and call an early election or risk the same fate as the past 5 Prime Ministers. Do you know, murmurs now in Westminster as he probably could do that. I think he should. Look, there's the principle.
Yeah.
The reason why he should, to validate his mandate, and also so we can learn a little bit. There should really be a leadership contest so we can sort of learn more policies.
I think that's why he wants the contest, so he doesn't have to have the election.
Right.
I think that's the logic, is saying, like, well, look, I did put my policies out there, and technically he doesn't have to have a general election. So I think that's why he's pushed pretty hard for it, so he doesn't have to go to the polls.
But is there going to be a leader? I don't think there is.
No, because, well, Darren Jones was basically auditioning for his current job, and Al Cairns is basically embarrassing himself on X every other day with these silly little videos that people think, you know, he thinks are making him look good. They're not.
I've not seen these.
Don't.
What's he doing?
Oh, basically, he's setting out 5 tests for Andy Burnham, and like he's trying to make him trying to act as an auditor for him, as to kind of position himself as a kind of potential change. But it's not come off very well.
What a spicy nickname that is, the auditor.
Is it?
No.
No.
but I mean, not just for principled reasons. I do think there is likely to be a Burnham bounce. There always is, because especially you know, our friends and colleagues over on the Legacy channels are literally salivating over the prospect of Andy Burnham. I'm not really sure how, you know, the Beth Rigbys of this world are able to contain themselves live on air. They're so delighted that their anointment has come true.
They said that about Starmer, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think they'd learn. My rule is anybody who the BBC likes is a wrong 'un by the end of it.
That's true.
Literally everybody they love always ends up leaving in disgrace.
Yeah, I was just doing the auditor.
The auditor
was at it. I was just thinking about that.
So if you're ever liked by the BBC, that's as far as you're going.
But you know, there will be a Burnham bounce for sure, and it's evident that it will not last, because he's not going to do the things that the public want and need to happen, which are all essentially right-wing things, and not just right-wing things, but rather radical right-wing things. And so that is not going to happen, because he's going to have the same situation as Starmer, where he's going to be trapped between intransigent backbenchers who are all basically, you know, Marxo-Como socialist loons. And then, you know, the OBR and the fact that we've got no cash money.
Yes.
Various impending crises and extant crises.
And the things we don't know that are going to happen as well. The known unknowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, my thing with the backbenchers is I think it's slightly different, because Andy Burnham has a personality and a personal brand. He can actually, you know, win a general election, I think, at some point. So I think it's different with Starmer, because Starmer was basically a dead man walking the minute he got the job. He just didn't realise it. And I think Burnham actually has the skill and the political acumen to be better as a Prime Minister in a politician sense. So I think he will have a lot more control over the backbenchers, because he's the guy that's just, you know, he just beat Reform UK to get into from Makerfield. That's the narrative he's going to push pretty hard among the backbenchers. And I know his kind of little team are already out there all over the media saying this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I think that's what he's pushing. It's like, I'm the guy, I'm your guy, so don't mess around with me, because, you know, I'm all you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Well, I'm trying to anticipate who's in his coterie, because I've heard of someone called Miata Fanbule.
Oh, yes, be terrified.
Right. So isn't she sort of his economics advisor?
Yes, but the woman can't count, so it's not...
shame.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
But
she's very, very left-wing. She believes in universal basic income.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Stop.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Are we going to bring back Are we going to get Russia to... Oh, well, they're going to invade anyway with our sort of $1 billion increase to that defence budget that Starmer seems to have found down the back of the sofa when it needed 10 bill.
No.
But yeah, Russia's going to come and set up collectives and gulags. That would be nice.
Yeah, I think we have the same wage appreciation as the Soviet Union did in the 1990s at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure I've read that. I think that was in the... Yeah, I've got to say, yeah, North Korea's going, oh, not bad. But yeah, it's terrifying, because Ed Miliband is, you know, he's on the cool, apparently, for being Chancellor now.
On the cool?
Yeah, in other words, he's not the favourite.
No, because he was, and then he wasn't. So that's what I had heard. That
but I actually think
who's been sniffed for it now?
Streeting. I don't believe he suddenly backed off without guaranteeing a spot as one of the top ones. Now, whether it's Home Secretary or whether it's Chancellor, I don't know. But my money's on Chancellor, because he's been talking about the economy quite a lot. Well, he thinks he has, but he's been talking...
I think Shabana will stay.
I think, yes. Only because she has cross-party appeal. People on the right don't mind. They don't like her. They don't dislike her.
Well, that was until the announcement that slipped out today, which we will be talking about later. I've done a little bit of research into this, you know, the new legislation on immigration and setting up the old safe routes. It's going to be a disaster, ladies and gentlemen. We will talk about that a little bit in the future. But I've actually found the original Fabian Society policy on it. And it's just there. It's basically verbatim. They're back. Actually, I haven't done my digging into Burnham and the Fabian Society, but he's bound to be, like, front and central.
Well, I don't think he's a lawyer. He's not a lawyer, is he?
No, but Fabian Society's just a think tanky thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but you have to be vaguely academic, I suppose. But...
Actually, I don't... Where did he go to university? There are certain Fabian tells. Did he go around LSE at any point? Was he seen on that campus? Did he do a master's there?
I know he did PPE.
Well, of course, that's just a given. If you want to be Prime Minister, you've got to do PPE.
He's never had an outside job, so...
No.
Yeah.
We'll have to do our little digging
on that one. Yeah, we'll have to dig around on that one.
Because the Fabians have never not had a Prime Minister. It's never been a non-Fabian. So it'll be interesting if this one breaks the mould. Yeah. But, you know, who else should we be expecting in the Cabinet? What do we know about what's about to happen? Because I think we deserve to know.
Yeah.
And I need to know.
This is also, I think, why he wants to have the coronation, because he hasn't made his mind up yet. You know, like in the words of Bucks Fizz, it's time for making your mind up. But I do think that you're looking at... Shabana will probably have something. What she has, I don't know. Logic would say keep her as Home Sec, but, you know, there was one moment people thought she might be Chancellor. West Streeting will definitely be in the Cabinet. Ed will probably have something. What? I don't know. Maybe Chief Sec to the Treasury, rather than Chancellor, because, you know, the markets will melt.
I don't know. You see, the thing is, Ed has been pulling so many strings in all of this. I'd imagine Ed will have something bigger. Maybe he'd jostle for foreign. I mean, it'd be a bit of a sadder on the world stage. Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, we've got Yvette Cooper that nobody knows exists. Yeah, we've got Yvette Cooper at the minute. Does anybody remember Yvette Cooper?
Where's she gone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's better that she's not around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no one in that. Look, when you start going, look, at least when you had Conservative leadership elections and the Conservatives were picking a new cabinet and everyone was discussing who it's going to be, you'd have lots of folks all sort of jostling to choose from. People who've held positions, people with experience, people with dynamism, people with distinct convictions.
Yeah.
Maybe what is the shit? With the Labour Party, it's just a load of people. You wouldn't even have babysitting your dog, largely indistinguishable from one another.
Yeah. I was going to say, we used to play a game, this is how fun we are, that name the cabinet. This is the one that we've all struggled with because we don't know who anybody is.
No, because they're rubbish.
Yeah, exactly.
They're really sort of, you know,
but they all just
below mediocre.
They all just want Andy. Andy is the Messiah, so therefore they don't want to challenge him because, you know, they also want a job. So the thing with the Tory leadership was anybody could have been Tory leader at any point, whoever put themselves forward, you know, because it always moves around quite a lot. But with the Labour Party, they're so desperate for Andy to be the next leader that nobody wants to challenge them and be seen as the bad guy in the party. So we don't have any kind of actual rigour or any idea who anybody is.
No.
Yeah.
And everyone's rubbish.
They are just rubbish.
They're
To be honest,
rubbish.
The quality across all parties in Parliament
to be
is
fair.
just
I mean, there's a lot of rubbish in the Commons.
Yeah.
Very, very sort of low calibre. Apparently, Burnham is going to announce next week sort of wild, radical devolution plans. To move money and powers from central government to England's regions. It's going to be his first big policy speech since Starmer's resignation. He's going to set out economic strategy under which Whitehall budgets will be slashed and money diverted to be spent by regional mayors. Now, the thing is about this, because they started this already, I saw this when they suddenly started devolving more powers and forcing local authorities to take on certain competences that used to be central government competences. And I remember in Starmer's very first King's speech picking up on how much quangocracy there was, how much more local authorities are going to have to do, which is the way the government say, well, we're not spending that money. Look, we've cut the budget, and instead the local tax has to go, local council tax has to go up. Then they can turn around and blame it on other parties. They've increased your council tax. It's a very clever sleight of hand. But, you know, what I think is so ludicrous about this, the leftos in the UK with this whole devolution thing, breaking up Britain, you know, Manchester, Mayor, Holyrood, the Senedd, you know, they make out like we're the size of the United States.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think we've got more elected members than China. And China's population is like billions.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think that China does still technically have the largest political party, but in terms of elected people, we probably do at this moment in time. And also unelected people with a lot of power. I bet we probably beat China on that one. But
in fact,
thing with
I want a lovely person in the gallery to Google that for me, please. I just want to know about how many, you know, have we got the most elected? I want to know on the league table of who's got the most elected members, because when you throw in the devolved governments, the mayors, the police and crime commissioners, they still exist.
No, well, they're getting rid of those.
Have they gone yet?
Not
They never did anything anyway,
no,
to be fair,
really.
rubbish. And then the House of Lords, which has got like 1,000 million people in, all falling asleep and drooling.
Holyrood,
yeah, all of them. I mean, it's madness. I think there's probably more politicians than people these days. And the councils, local councils, parish councils. It is insane.
Yes. Yeah, oh, definitely. But
so
my thing with the whole devolution thing is fine, but you've got to have proper assemblies with actual power of accountability. So, like, you know, these regional mayors are just being given money. They're administrators. They're not mayors. Nobody's holding them accountable for anything with any kind of consequence. There's no pushback at all. So basically, they just get given the money, and then you know, they just get to do with it whatever they like. I look at Sadiq Khan and the GLA. The GLA is powerless to stop Sadiq Khan. Realistically, they can, you know, they can have a vote here and there, but in reality, what Sadiq wants, Sadiq gets, and this is my problem of the devolution stuff. If it's just handing power over to their own friends, because realistically, most of them will go to the Labour Party,
right?
And it's crazy.
So he wants to give new mayors powers and funding to deliver social housing, tackle welfare dependency, and run post-16 education. Now, look. When you look at social housing and welfare dependency, that is basically just passing the buck of the biggest problem in the United Kingdom right now, which is the amount of people on universal credit, the amount of people not in work, the amount of people claiming disability benefits, the huge backlogs on social housing, and also, therefore, having to find ways to accommodate all these latest ne'er-do-wells who've broken into the country on their dinghies. So this is just a sleight of hand, essentially, to force local authorities to deal with some really big crises, find the money for it, and then essentially you end up with a screaming mess at local level, and the government can pretend to wash their hands of it. Yeah, to be fair, I always say the local government is the dumpster fire of British politics anyway, because all we do is we just dump everything on it. We expect them to actually administrate it, and we don't put up their budgets. We don't have any kind of requirement for skill in local government in terms of administrators. And you suddenly wonder why everything is falling apart at the local level. It's because we just dump everything on them. I do not understand how the same organisation is in charge of recycling and bin collection and adult social care. Right. It doesn't make any sense to me as to how one organisation is responsible for that level of brief. It would never happen in the corporate world. Did they get rid of NHS England in the end, or whatever it was? What were they getting rid of? Yeah, NHS England, but they just broke it up again and into lots of other different things. So we broke a quango. No, you didn't. You just moved people around. They realised that paying out all the redundancy was going to cost more than just keeping the pointless blimmin' thing alive. Yeah, pretty much. This is the mad thing with all of these settlements now in the public service. You can't get rid of people. Yeah. All gold-plated pensions.
Tony
and
Blair.
slanketry, lanyards and slankets.
Yeah. Tony Blair. Stakeholder Society is what it's called.
The demise of Britain.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that cheerful note, what would you like to say? Get in touch with us. 03444991000 is the number to call. 87222 if you want to send a text message right through a talk. Before you text, you can also leave us a ditty, a jingle, a little joyful piece of audio on 03444991000 as well by pressing the little microphone and recording your voice. And that is also the number to call if you want to chat with Peter and I, and we always love talking to you. So do not hesitate, do not be afraid. It's Saturday and it's still hot out there, so stay in the shade. That rhymed.
I know it did, and I can tell you're very proud of yourself.
Anyway, do you know what it's time for?
Tension bed.
There it is. I love it. You got there in advance, didn't you? We've got the disciple today, not tech off. So yeah, it's going to be a whole different way of doing things today. But he got the tension bed in there. Okay, what song was being played by protesters during Keir Starmer's resignation speech? Well, by Steve Bray.
Yeah.
I loved that. It's like the self-cannibalisation of the Remainers. It was chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was that song which interrupted or created a sort of a tension bed behind Sir Keir Starmer's resignation speech? Right, we'll give you the answer just after this.
Old news. On to the next. There we go. That was Andy Burnham, who just drove through there on his way to the palaces of Westminster to be sworn in as an MP and, of course, on his route to number 10.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense. Because he's got...
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, welcome back. Oh, Disciple, that's where we do the tension bed.
There we go.
There we go, tension bed. Oh, can't get the staff these days.
You like Tech Up have a day off?
I know, how dare Tech Up not be working, but we love George the Disciple.
We do.
Right. Oh, hold on. Quiz. The resignation speech was being interrupted by Steve Bray blasting out what song?
Ode to Joy.
Why was he blasting it out?
It was his favourite song.
Why is it his favourite song?
Because it's the European Union national anthem.
And what does he love?
The European Union.
Correct.
There you go.
But no, there was something quite...
Yeah, because he was doing it in kind of an homage to him. It wasn't an insult to him, apparently.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, because he said it on... Desert Island Discs, didn't he? That it was one of his favourite songs.
Who? Starmer?
Yeah. He also said he didn't dream, which is rather weird when you think about it.
That was a beautiful silence moment then.
Yeah. He didn't have a favourite... He said he didn't have a favourite book and he doesn't dream.
I feel like that's probably some sort of marker of being a psychopath.
I'm pretty sure that it is. Yeah.
Everyone dreams, surely.
Well, I didn't realise not so long ago that not everybody has an internal monologue. What? Do you know where you can think in your head and it sounds like your own voice? Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, it's my own voice.
Oh, there you go.
was just saying, I was listening to see what voice was in my head. You know, what sort of sat nav I had running on the latest operating software, and it was my own voice.
Yeah. Turn around where appropriate.
Yeah.
Make a U-turn.
God, I'm annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up. Anyway, let's talk about something that's deeply annoying, which is, here we go. I sort of hinted at it earlier. We're about to see a whole new raft of migration policy. Hurrah, you say. They finally listened. They realise that we are all absolutely fed up with porous open borders, illegal migrants, dangerous criminals. Did you know now organised crime in Europe is so big there's about 450,000 scary cartel gang members in Europe?
Yeah, they probably all live in Belgravia, if I'm being brutally honest. But no, if I remember rightly, it was thanks to the black market that after Britain survived the 2008 financial crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was thanks to the drugs market and basically organised crime that we actually had any cash flowing at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact. How does that work?
Basically, it's because it's a cash industry. People, so
this
the only people buying and selling
did
things.
A run on cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah.
But anyway, here are the things that we could be soon facing. So first of all, there were talks of changing indefinite leave to remain and pushing it up to 10 years because there was a huge number of people who came in under Boris Johnson, the so-called Boris wave, who would now be reaching the point that they might be able to qualify to apply for indefinite leave to remain as they've been living in the country for 5 years. And Shabana Mahmood was planning to rip that up, change it to 10 years, try and apply it retrospectively, which may indeed have had a few issues. Well, that is likely to go, which means that all of those Boris wave randoms will just be like you and I, British citizens on our streets.
Yes, wonderful.
I've also heard that there's this proposal. So this is the one, though, that is disgusting and ill. Certain things are being done to try and speed up deportations, looking at the way of the application of human rights legislation, as well as tinkering with modern slavery laws. People who go to prison because they've come over here to just work as drug dealers. Like, oh, but I'm a modern slave. It's like, no, you're not. You didn't have to pay the people travelling. You didn't have to try and break into our country. You could have just stayed wherever you're from.
You're driving a brand new BMW, you're not a slave.
Exactly. Quite. So those can be seen as good things, but here is where it gets terrifying. And it actually is from... I sent myself a link, actually. Do you ever WhatsApp yourself?
All the time.
I've only just discovered this, and I don't know how it's taken me so long. But I WhatsApped myself this link because I was like, that is very interesting. So it actually comes from... Here it is. Lawful and Fair, Building a Better Migration System on the Fabian Society's website. And this is essentially what Shabana Mahmood is now proposing. And we keep hearing that safe and legal routes. What a ridiculous concept. I'm sorry. But it's all sort of tied into the UN and what the UN want, which is us to take anybody from any godforsaken, flea-bitten, hellhole country in the world and invite them to come over here. And what's worse is they're going to do it by allowing organisations such as universities and businesses to sponsor refugees. Every single local authority is going to have to do it. That's right. If you're living somewhere that is currently unaffected by the huge inundation of people from misogynistic medieval countries, don't you worry, they're going to come and live near you soon. But this is the bit that makes me deeply worried. The word community groups. So community groups are going to get to sponsor in inverted commas, refugees. You know what that means? Our, beardy weirdies, our mosques, our imams, the people who might be taking money from Muslim Brotherhood.
That phrase, community
leaders. Because that's
leaders.
going to work out well, isn't it?
Yeah, and he'll probably end up being responsible for overseeing it all. Local government.
Local government.
It'll be something else that is devolved away. It wasn't us that did it, it was your local council that did it.
And the thing is about the NGO sector, all of these people, they will push and push and push legislation. So first of all, it'll be like, oh, we've got to take, Mohammed out of Darfur because his legs are being blown off and he needs medical treatment. And it's like, fair play, let's give him some legs, sort him out, patch him up, whatever, send him home. But then it evolves every time, doesn't it, too? We've got to take, Jamal, because Jamal has decided that he now identifies as a kangaroo and, needs somewhere to hop around safely where he's not going to have rocks thrown at him. And then it's going to be all of these people around. It'll be a whole black market. Because, look, I hate to say it, but this is how a lot of these immigration lawyers work. A lot of these kebab shops handing out skilled worker visas. There are organisations in most third world countries now, which are making a mint of how to hack the immigration system. And there'll be some sort of geezer somewhere in the community whose job it is to process everybody's family's visa because grandma wants medical care, because, you know, what's-his-face Suleiman needs his 18th blimmin' wife, and they all need the welfare state. And before you know it, it'll become a massive racket, and every single person from, you know, a poor Muslim country will be basically finding ways to get here.
Yeah, and I bet
I'm not looking forward to it.
No, not at all. But I will say, what I think will happen is these families will all club together to send one child to university to become a lawyer. And then they will then be responsible to work in immigration law to bring everybody here. That's how it works. Also, interestingly, when we're on about other countries taking advantage, there's a story here in the Telegraph. It's literally just on the front page. Poland tells citizens to cash in on UK welfare. We're an international laughingstock.
Do you remember when
Basically
we had the
ATM?
biggest bust of people putting in false universal credit claims, and it was millions upon millions upon millions of pounds, and it was being done by like 3 Albanians on their sitting room, and they were like building palaces over there, and you know, millions. I can't remember what the sum was, but we are a laughingstock. Everybody knows how to rip the proverbial out of us, and it's just going to get worse. And I think Andy Burnham, by the looks of things, is being sort of already driven from the sidelines by the bigwigs in these very leftist, rather grim think tanks. And, well, if you thought things were bad under Herma and Starmer, although looking forward to seeing the back of Herma, I must admit.
I have to admit that
he
one
gives me the chills.
Yeah.
I think things are going to get worse.
Oh, yes. Well, it's rather ironic from things can only get better. Yeah, there's a very... particularly if, you know, because he's supposed to become Prime Minister the day after the World Cup. World Cup final, so yeah. Imagine if we win the World Cup final and he's the Prime Minister.
All our Christmases will have come up, won't
they?
Shall we do some messages before we do a quizzy question and then hit up that break? Starmer apparently plays five-a-side football. That's his thing. Some great videos of him on YouTube, and unsurprisingly, he's absolutely useless.
He has full friends to play.
Do you know the thing I can't unsee with football? Because I watch rugby, where they've got proper limbs and, you know, they're proper men.
Yeah.
Proper men. Whenever I watch football, I get really distracted by the weird little Tyrannosaurus arms.
Yeah.
You know, because arms can't do anything. And it's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The weird little arms like this.
I don't really enjoy watching preening multimillionaires kicking a piece of leather around for 90 minutes and everybody's then getting in. Yeah, I don't really get that. I don't get it. How can something be a 0-0 draw? It'd be amazing. Anyway.
Coming up later on the show, we are going to be discussing the World Cup. You'll be pleased to know, Barnsley.
Yes.
Derek in Rugby says, why is Peter Barnes dressed as Andy Burnham? It's a good question.
Yes, yeah.
Why are you dressed as Andy Burnham?
Well, to be fair, I forgot pants, so I did actually have a shirt, but
hold on. So the Andy Burnham dress code is no pants?
No, because I just had I did have a white shirt to wear, but because I forgot jeans, because I came in shorts, it didn't look right. I looked ridiculous.
You do know that, but, you know, you...
Yeah, but knowing my look, one of these cameras will pick up a side shot. Not giving you any guys suggestions there, by the way, but yes.
Devolving power to community leaders is the path to legal Sharia court, says Simon in County Down. That actually isn't a too wild a proposition to make, because a lot of these sort of more local mayors now are all of a certain faith and certainly push their own agenda for their own community. You just have to look yonder over at the old Tower Hamlets.
Yes, the current courts minister said we should have Sharia courts because it's good for diversity. And everybody rather missed that one, but yeah.
Oh, have you seen what... we're going to come on to what Prince Charles is up to, all his, you know, loving the old other religions.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, as promised, shall we...
Yes.
Quiz up?
Tension bed.
Who has scored the most World Cup goals? I'm guessing this is ever, rather than in the competition so far. See, by the way, I didn't write the questions today.
I was going to say that is not filling with confidence.
And I've made of all time.
It's of all time, right?
Yeah, I've made.
I love how I said that, like it made it any suggestions for me.
So, who has scored the most World Cup goals of all time? What? Who's currently playing? Okay, so, but not of all time throughout history. Yeah, throughout history of all time, so including like Bobby Charlton and people like that. I don't know if he's ever scored a World Cup goal. Who's it? Okay, there you go.
Yes, I have a guess, but yeah.
Who is the goal machine par excellence? Right, answer coming up after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, welcome back.
Tension bed.
I like the way George is adding a bit of tension before the tension bed. It's like meta-tension bed. It's like tension squared.
Tension squared. Wow.
Right, who has scored the most World Cup goals of all time ever?
I went Messi.
Yeah.
Is it right? Oh.
My gosh, you got a football thing correct.
Yes, that's not good.
Name
That's like an
another
end of
footballer.
Ronaldo. That was, he
Name
was my
another.
other... I'm out of footballers. But Mbappe, I thought Mbappe might have been one because he's always he's talked about a lot.
Mbappe.
Yeah, Mbappe. Yeah, Hansen is doing really well at the World Cup. That's more my speed, people.
The one I like the most, not that I watch football at all, is the one who looks like some sort of extreme Viking. He's like Viking Max.
I don't know that one. What's Norway doing? Whether in the crowd?
Are they in it?
Yeah, but are they doing some kind of like canoeing
like
thing?
Denmark.
Is it Denmark?
Oh, I don't know.
It's one of them.
One of the Viking lots do some sort of...
Because they had the Viking clap during the... where they went, that one, and they all clapped.
What?
Yeah, but they all went like that. I think that was Iceland, I think, actually. Yeah, and then it just got faster and faster and faster. That was a thing that they did.
Oh.
And now another country's got on this thing where they're doing like a rowing thing, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. It's really weird when I kind of dip into...
Is it Eritrea coming across the channel?
Ironically, it's France. They're giving instructions to, the gendarmes are helping them.
Oh, gosh. You heard, actually, I was reading that a load of the boats are coming from Belgium now. They're sort of tracking down the... Belgium, at one point, was really good at dealing with the small boats taking off from Belgium. They were extremely good. They actually used to confiscate phones so they could find who the gangs were.
Yeah, but the people who worked for the EU didn't want them around them.
No, that's... Oh, wow. I don't know if you've been to Brussels lately, but they've definitely got them around them.
That's very true.
Brussels is, like, I don't know, it might be one of the most dystopian cities in all of Europe.
The decline of that city is stark.
The bit in the middle, like Grand Place, that's still lovely. That's nice. Go get your moule and your frites and your...
Go one
your
street
triple.
out of it.
Yeah, and then just walk into...
Cut your phone, walk quickly. No, it is actually shocking.
Absolutely shocking. It was always a scruffy, tatty, soulless, grim little city covered by a sort of foggy miasma and filled with corporate bureaucrats and pen pushers. But it's now...
Yeah. It is the stark difference between touristy bit, not touristy bit, is very obvious.
You come back to London and you're like, oh, thank God for that. Green and pleasant land again.
Yeah.
But I don't know, which is the most gnarly city now in Europe?
Paris.
Like Toulouse is pretty psycho, isn't it, I've heard?
Well, Paris has been on the decline for a very long time.
Is it worse than Brussels?
Yeah.
Malmo in Switzerland, that sounds really hard line.
Yeah, Switzerland. I thought it was in Sweden.
Sweden, sorry, yeah. Switzerland's fine.
I think, was it the president of Sweden said that he's literally lost control of law and order? At one point.
If you think we've got problems over here, they're like actually throwing bombs at each other.
Yes, yeah.
Actual bombs, the migrants.
Helsinki as well at one point. They had a bombing spree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Helsinki?
I'm sure it was Helsinki, yeah.
I wouldn't mess with
because the
those
True Finns, like our friends at the True Finns, they were kind of saying, like, somebody come and save us, please.
Is it still Teemu Soini?
I really hope it is, because he has the greatest name ever. Still as good as Toto Wolff.
That's a great... I love Toto Wolff. He's like an archetypal Bond villain.
He really is.
He's always wasted in Formula One. Right, anyway, we digress. What are we going to be talking about now? Well, let's have a look. This is our next story in the pile. So, here we go. This is RAF Barnham in Suffolk, which is now going to be used to house migrants. Now, this is in a reform-led council. And the leader of said council has hit out at Labour's plans to move migrants into the former military barracks in a tiny-weeny little village because he says that he just wasn't given any prior warning or consultation. And the councillor, Michael Hadwen, who's the leader of Suffolk County Council, said he will fight this proposal every step of the way. Now, the difficulty is, of course, when the government sort of mandates them on high, you are getting all these people... It's a bit like Crowborough. You're going to get these people in your local area. All a local council can do is try to mount judicial reviews, which ends up costing the council a load of money, and by and large they're often unsuccessful because you've got to be able to demonstrate against the government why your area is particularly unsuitable compared to other areas. But the government will, of course, have laid out why your area is the most suitable as opposed to all the others.
And they've got a lot more money.
We're just using taxpayers' cash to fight each other for absolutely naff all reason.
I just wrote on this, it's the typical phrase of 2025, 2026, found out. the current councils find out about this stuff. It's the fact that, you know, at Crowborough, they brought the people in under the cover of darkness in coaches, and they made sure the press wasn't around when they actually moved the migrants in. They do it on, like, basically behind the council's back. They don't work with them at all. And I think this is the bit where the tension always rises, because if the councils were informed and they could work together, actually say we could put this people there could be some level of coordination. Of course, these people should not be here at all, but if we're going to put them somewhere, the army barracks, I'm sorry, are the best place for them. We should put a fence around them. But yeah, I mean, I know people were also complaining that it was all the 5 sites, none of them were Labour ones. But where the reality is where most of the army barracks tend not to vote for the Labour Party anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, because they're all very nice places. That's why the Labour Party doesn't.
But looking at this, though, it is staggering. So I don't know... I love the fact that the RAF base is in Burnham, as in Andy Burnham. Can't get enough Burnham today.
Yeah.
I don't know what the population...
I feel like that may have been deliberate. What do you know? Deliberately picked Burnham.
But I don't know how big. I don't know what the population size of Burnham. Oh, Barnum. See, someone's actually written Burnham here. Barnum. I don't know what the population size is of Barnum, but the fact that it's a village, and they're about to get 1,250 migrants, which will basically all be men. It's just atrocious. What is the worst part of all of this is the fact that they're just allowed to come and go. I know that they've had huge problems down in Wethersfield in Essex, because it's not just that these migrants can come and go, they actually set up a minibus to go drop them in town.
Yeah.
And here we go, tiny little Barnum, just has one rural community school. Oh, great. Those kids are going to love the presence of over 1,000.
Well, do you not remember the crazy Green councillor that wanted to do Valentine's Day cards?
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was utterly gross.
That was weird. I was on a show yesterday, actually, with Rachel Millward. She's the Deputy Green leader. She was the one who very famously said, "Refugees welcome," and then said, but not in my area.
Don't you come down my way, though.
She didn't like it when I pointed that out to her on national television yesterday.
Wasn't it in sort of down... Was it sort of Brighton way? Is that the same constituency?
No, she's Crowborough. She's basically that. Yeah.
I mean, I actually do think sending all the refugees to Brighton, could be quite funny.
I mean, yes. It definitely has an apocalyptic end of, like, a good battle at the end of the film.
Want to assimilate? Go down Heaven nightclub, my friend.
Yeah. Well, it's basically the Green Party in general at the moment.
It's really quite... But this is the thing. I mean, do you do this thing where you look in your local area and go, can they come near me?
Yeah, I often feel very concerned because there's a lot of kind of... housing developments going up where I am at the minute, and I'm like, well, that's going to be a HMO, and that's going to be a HMO, and that's going to be a HMO.
HMO's terrifying.
Absolutely
because
terrifying.
That's the thing. I don't really have in my neck of the woods any sort of military bases that are lurking around begging to be snapped up.
Yeah.
There's an Army Reservist Centre, but I think it's in good use. Yeah. The nearest military base is RAF Fairford, so good luck.
Good luck.
Donald Trump's going like, oh yeah, like US Air Base, put the migrants there. Don't think that's going to happen.
No.
And then most of the area around me is privately owned by people with fancy titles and stuff like that.
Those people are rogue. They could go rogue, those people.
I don't reckon my ones are going to go rogue.
Not what you are, no.
No, my ones are going to be all right.
Yeah, but no, it is one of those things where people are now very... Because the HMO just kind of appears, and the next thing you know, you can't... I always say this point, but you can't move. Because nobody wants to move next to a HMO.
Right, under these plans, every single local authority is going to be obligated to take... This is here, the Ukrainian-style scheme. It's clever, isn't it, how they call it the Ukrainian-style scheme, because everyone didn't mind offering their spare rooms to Ukrainian women and children, you know, from a Western culture, who are Christian.
Most of them spoke English, integrated perfectly well.
Yeah, came over to work and follow our rules and actually just desperately wanted to go home. And, oh, that's right, all the men of a fighting age were not there because they were fighting.
Yes.
And I like the fact that now the sort of Ukrainian-style scheme is what's being used to ship in a load of gnarlies from Lord knows where, who probably spend their pastime back in their villages at home beheading people.
Yeah. You've also had a lot of people who came here on the Ukrainian scheme go back.
Yeah.
Because they want to go back. The difference with the migrant crisis is they don't go back. They're not migrants anymore, because migrants means a transitory nature. That once they're here, they're settlers. That's the great irony of the entire story.
Apparently there's going to be an annual cap on numbers through the named sponsorship scheme, which allows people to privately sponsor refugees by committing to providing financial, emotional and settlement support for an initial 12 months after a refugee arrives in the country. All these do-gooders. Although I bet you most of the people who are refugees welcome don't actually have a so-called refugee in their spare room.
Oh, no, you always see this, don't you, where people go around saying, well, you know, fill out this form and you can have somebody, you know, stay with you. And they'll go, oh, no, I can't possibly. I'm too busy or whatever. Again, it's where people say, we should raise taxes. OK, your taxes can go up. Oh, no, other people's taxes can go up.
So the scheme to resettle refugees, which are from countries that have conflict, famine, drought and other disasters, which is basically every country in the world that's not Western Europe and America at this point. Refugees likely to be prioritised under the scheme will be those identified as the most in need from countries such as Sudan and Eritrea. You know,
wonderful.
Our favourites.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones where everyone who comes from Sudan and Eritrea, they're just so lovely and cuddly and educated. All those nuclear scientists and doctors and lawyers.
Yeah, I said this to Rachel Millward the other day. I said, if they're all doctors and lawyers and surgeons, why don't you want them in your backyard? I thought they were all delightful people.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to have people who, you know, got clever knife work, know how to slit a throat. Brilliant. OK, well, that's a cheerful little subject, isn't it? 11:15 on a Saturday morning. Sorry if you just spat out your tea. Shall we go to a break and squeeze in another quiz question?
I think we should.
Tension bed. How long was Andy Burnham the mayor of Manchester? Not long enough, as it turns out, some might say. Right, the answer is coming up just after this.
Andy Burnham just drove through there on his way to the palaces of Westminster to be sworn in as an MP and, of course, on his route to number 10.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense. Because if he's got...
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
It's now going.
It's so tension bed.
That was tense.
That was like waiting for a sneeze,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it
The
was.
satisfaction in
Yeah.
All right, how long was Andy Burnham, the mayor of Greater Manchester?
9
Boy,
years.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I'm from there.
Doing well. Three today. I do miss Olaf, though.
I do and I don't. The man was giving me, like, you know, a PTSD and, like, panic attacks.
I've actually done Olaf for a while because I used to then
Yeah.
go home on the Sunday, have roast dinner with my parents. My dad would save the Olaf so we could all do it together. But then...
I keep forgetting you grew up in an Enid Blyton novel.
What, in Gloucester?
Yeah. But, you know, what, all very twee.
I grew up on a 1970s housing estate just downwind from a
I have a very different image in my head.
Institution.
I have a very different image in my head.
Yeah, well, I think you better get rid of that image.
Yeah. I've got, like, it's like Beatrix Potter kind of thing. I don't know why.
And it's all very well when I was young and it was all fields around my house. Now it's just like a multiple expanse of increasing suburbia.
Oh. I thought you left that.
Well, no, that's I mean my old house, the house I grew up in.
yeah.
The house I grew up in. No, I worked at Safeway with, you know...
With James Price? Oh, he's from near... No.
I didn't work at Safeway with James Price, but he did grow up in the next sort of place along
I think,
from
yes,
me.
I remember
We
this.
didn't know each other, though.
I see.
We went to rival schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like me and Andre Walker, because he grew up in the village that's next to mine.
Did he go to a rival school?
Well, not really, because we always say that his village is just a bus stop.
Ah.
Yeah, the villages have a rivalry, but not the schools.
Oh.
Yeah, it's always fun.
nice.
And then we went to the same sixth form. Well, not at very different times. He's a lot older than me.
I don't think anyone of any import... Apart from, no, hold on. There is a rugby player who plays for England who went to my school. Sam Underwood, I think it is.
I used to play rugby with Owen Farrell.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, this is not about news,
No,
is
it's not
it?
at all.
It has nothing to do with anything in the newspaper. So people are sitting at home going, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Shut up. Right, let us talk now about the poor policewoman who's left blooded in Manchester Airport, has accused her attacker of using her as a punch bag. And she's 21 years old, this woman. She said, take a good look at me, 5'2", 8 stone. And I want you to know I am not weak. No matter how this has affected me or impacted on my life, I will not allow you to see me as weak. You used me as a punch bag, but I will get back up and I'll show you how strong I am. I mean, the more we learn about this... How long ago was this at Blimmin?
2 years ago.
And there's only just been sentenced now, and we had all the video evidence, and it's clear... I mean, what is so mad about this is, you know, you look back to when that video was first released and all the people assembling outside the police station being corralled by my favourite little lawyer.
Yes.
What's his name now? I miss
Ahmed,
that guy.
is it
Ahmed Yacoub.
Yacoub, that's it.
I mean, I find him quite frightening, but he also entertains me.
Yeah. Do you know he's like best friends with Kevin O'Sullivan now? They have like this weird friendship because they, you know, it's just two lunatics together.
They are just both nutty. Yeah, he's like Islamist Kev.
Yeah.
Basically.
There's a phrase.
What a thought!
Oh God.
But no, it's I don't know where we got. But he was trying to corral everyone to sort of treat this as a BLM moment. But the guy went absolutely. I mean, what do we know? So here we go. So to deliver his sentencing hearing, what sentence did he get? Do we know?
I think he got
3.5.
3.5, something like
be
that.
out next week.
Yeah, because it's also it's backdated as well, if I remember right. And this is why everybody was furious because he'll hardly get anything because it's all. It's already kind of like, what do they retrospective as well, which is just obscene. And I think on the attack on the male police officer, one of them they didn't get anything, despite very clear video evidence of it. Yeah. It's a huge problem, this one. And I will actually say, credit to Reform for actually pushing this, because without the threat of a private prosecution, I don't think we'd have got halfway through as what we got with this.
I think you're right on that. I think
I listened to Richard Tice this morning, actually, with Mark Dolan, and I agree with him on that, saying that actually we have a... it was actually, again, he was saying that it was down to Reform pushing it, and I think he was perfectly spot on. I would like, you know, some actual kind of policy to make sure we kind of bring the CPS in line, because this is an ongoing problem that we have. We're set up for, like, you know, without fear or favour. Well, there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of favours going around.
There's a lot of nothing but fear and favour.
Yeah.
Although Shabana Mahmood did push back against those ideas that you had to bring in somebody's cultural and racial background into sentencing.
People bring this up, and me and Peter Cardwell got into this one time because, you know, he said the same thing, and I was like, she wrote a letter, and she waited right until the very end, until we needed emergency legislation to actually stop it.
Right.
She said she didn't have the power. She was the Justice Secretary. Yeah, this is why I've never been a fan of this woman, and people keep giving her praise because she makes the right noises. I care about what you do, not what noises you make.
Now this, here we go. Should we end on a low? Let's end
not?
on a low. So there's been some latest guidance or something. There's been this published annual review of the royal family's finances. There's been the sovereign grant report. There's also some other document, which is a job... So it's apparently a redraft of the King's job description. Well, you're the king. You don't have a job. You're just king over us. Just be king. Which includes strengthening the UK's social fabric. And here we go, and I quote verbatim, the king's official job is to protect faith within the multi-faith nation. His Majesty is Supreme Governor of the Church of England, correct, and protects the space for faith within the multi-faith nation. The space for faith.
Yeah, I feel like that was written by somebody who wears a lanyard.
That is so lanyard. A lanyard.
That's so
that is just a lanyard. That is absolute lanyardism.
What concerns me now is I'm getting really good at lanyard to English translation.
I know. The most lanyardy words are fostering.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't...
Foster.
You've got to foster something with a lanyard. If you're not wearing a lanyard, you're not fostering anything.
And investing.
Empowering.
Empowering, that's a good one.
Empowering.
Yeah.
Inclusion, obviously.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, but this is... Everyone gets really wound up when they see King Charles getting involved with all the other faiths. And I do as well, because the whole point of this is no one's saying let's go about and persecute people of other faiths and make their life a misery, but in the same way that you wouldn't get the sort of, you know, sheikh of somewhere or the, you know, the sultan of somewhere else or the emir of somewhere else suddenly becoming the defender of the Christian faith and knocking about around the churches. Because you go to these countries, like I am going to a Muslim country where Islam is put front and centre. It underpins everything about us culturally, anti-democratically, normally is the way, and legally and all the rest of it. And you don't have these people parading around going, well, we better, like, you know, get our old crucifixes out and do a little bit of eating the old, you know, wafer and taking off the wine.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
They don't, because the whole point is your culture, your creed, your sort of the glue that holds you together is sort of connected to these sort of soft tissues that run through a society. So having a monarchy, having the Church of England, and those two things are directly intertwined. And the king should just be kinging about in a Christian kingly way. And, you know, it doesn't mean you have to chase people out of town with pitchforks, but this whole sort of, you know, whacking on turbans and getting on prayer mats, make it stop.
Yes. I think he forgot... I think, actually, to be fair, I think he's embarrassed of his position in the Church of England. I think he's embarrassed of it, and he feels very uncomfortable when you know, he has to do the Church of England bit. I believe he probably is a man of faith, but I don't believe he's very comfortable doing it in public. I also, to go back to your point, I can't help but notice the lack of kind of inclusion in Mecca, for example, where, you know, when this Hajj that Sadiq Khan went on, we can't go because we're not Muslim.
Right.
So, you know, why don't we have to... Again, I would never advocate that, you know, people can't go into, you know, Westminster Abbey, for example. But it's kind of the same thing. You know, it's about... You're right, it's a great phrase, the soft tissue that binds us all together. Walter Bagot, who was a British constitutionalist, said...
Walter Bagot?
Yes. One of the finest English constitutionalists said that the royal family paper over the wall cracks of the nation.
Exactly.
And that's the point of them, is that they're supposed to bind us all together because it's something that is above, and also like apart from all the petty politics.
It's sort of untouchable.
Yes.
I always think of it as like an invisible cork in the bottle, top of a bottle.
Yes.
Because you can't actually, if the royal family wanted to, because they actually technically do have all the power over everyone, they could certainly go, ha-ha, we're going to not agree to that, we're not going to give royal assent to that. But protocol means they don't, but it also means there isn't an ultimate power.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a natty little system we got going on there.
I think, yeah, you know.
Worked so far.
Well,
ish.
We'll
go a bit wrong now. And that's largely down to our useless successive governments. I sometimes wish the royal family did say, nope, not going to assent to that.
Yeah, I'd be very careful about that, because sometimes they might say, no, might not agree to that, and it's something that we want.
That's true.
But yeah, people have to be careful about wishing the king would get involved.
Oh, should we squeeze in a quick quiz question? Basically, we're out of time. Let's do a quick tension bed. Tension bed. How far is Cape Verde from the coast of Senegal in miles? Well, that's just a random geography question there.
It's not a dirty boat question.
There you go. How far is Cape Verde from Senegal in miles? Answer coming up just after this advert break. Put the kettle on. After the break, we're joined by the brilliant Gawain Tola Reform UK board member. Don't go anywhere.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
It's happened before, but it is nonetheless still rather extraordinary that somebody who was only elected or officially sworn in as an MP less than 24 hours ago, in 3 weeks' time, is going to be running the country.
Yes, I think it is rather extraordinary. I think the issue isn't whether someone like that should automatically have to hold a general election. If Andy Burnham wants to introduce major changes to our constitution, he's talked about overhauling the House of Lords. He's also talked about overhauling our electoral system, bringing in some form of PR. I think if he wants to do any of those things, he needs a mandate from the public to do them. To try and do them without calling an election, I think, would be a constitutional outrage.
I've got an interesting tweet. There's always a tweet, Julia.
Yep.
If I can just read this out to you from Andy Burnham 3 years ago. We need to start demanding a general election at the end of this Tory leadership election. Well, well, well. That was Andy Burnham actually 4 years ago in 2022. So we're saying stick by your word, be consistent, Andy, and when you're Prime Minister, call a general election.
The battle is really on, though, for number 11. Who's going to be the Chancellor? Ed Miliband, don't forget, has played an integral key role in this coup, and it is a coup because no one apart from 25,000 good people of Makerfield have voted for this guy. Yeah. So he's played a pretty integral role in undermining Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband aren't really speaking. He's going to want a big reward. But, you know, he is, you know, probably the most left-wing person in the government, and he will spook the markets.
Lou Hay, I mean, the reality is, look, she served her time. You know, she was cast out of government. The reality is, as you said, she has been central to his campaign. She was central to his campaign in Makerfield. More broadly, she's been central to his campaign to enter Downing Street. He owes her, and she will definitely get a role. I'm not.
What do you say to the people that
across the UK on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side? This is Talk.
I like that. No, that is daiquiri music.
That's daiquiri music. No, this is mojito.
I'm not sure this is daiquiri
It's
music.
mojito.
How do you know that's mojito and not daiquiri?
Well, this is more kind of early in the night. So you have a mojito first, and then you have a daiquiri later on.
Oh, is that the rule?
Well, it's my rule.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my rule for any day ending in a Y.
What is your sort of poison of choice on a night out? When you go out.
When I go out, usually gin and tonics.
Yeah, well, gin and slim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how much they cost these days.
It's absolutely
in London.
astronomical.
It's like, I don't need to have, you know, a sort of giant bottle of some elderflower cucumber.
I don't need half a tree in it either.
Yeah, exactly. I like the good old-fashioned way of, you know, a bit of Gordon's and some Schweppes on it.
Yeah,
in a normal glass.
Yeah,
that,
Bombay or
you know,
Tanqueray.
costs the normal sort of, you know, cost of a shot and a mixer.
Yeah, I could buy a bottle for one drink.
It's so amazing. When I go to my local pub back at Erm,
yeah,
and I sort of, you know, I'll sit at the bottom. Does anyone else want a drink? Do you want a drink? And the total comes. I'm like, oh, because it's the same price as just a gin and tonic in London. It's such a beautiful thing.
Oh, when I go back to my parents, the local rugby club, it's £2.95 a pint.
£2.95 a pint?
Yeah, £2.95 a pint. And there was an outrage because it went up by 5p.
They've now introduced, this is going to be so dangerous for me. They've now introduced bag-in-box in my local. My local, like stumbling distance. Bag-in-box being the local cider maker. His own sort of, you know, mutton bowel sack-butted offering is now behind the bar in my pub. And I was on the pints the other day. Oh, no. It was £4 a pint, that stuff. Oh. That old that bad boy Scrumpy.
Yeah.
So I was knocking that back the other day. It culminated in my friends and I writing a rap song.
Oh, I've heard about this.
You've heard about my rap
yes,
song?
I heard about this in the makeup room.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, no, then we put it to AI. It said to AI, perform it.
Yes.
It's sort of like a folky rap song with ukuleles and a dirty beat.
Well, you didn't use grok then, did you? No, grok doesn't use a ukulele.
It was 11 something.
Yeah.
My mate was like, try it on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've written it, and I'm sort of mildly tempted to anonymously release it on Spotify and see what happens.
That's so funny.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's an interesting track. I'll play it for you later.
Yes,
We will not be playing it on the show because Ofcom wouldn't like it. Neither would your children. Right, let us now talk. Have we done the answer to?
No, we didn't. No.
We haven't done
Tension bed.
Tension bed. How far is Cape Verde, which of course now if you're at the BBC you've got to call it Capo Verde.
Yes.
Because, you know,
yes,
BBC.
clearly. Yeah.
From the coast of Senegal.
I went 4 miles.
4?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, that'd just be Senegal.
What? I don't know. Is it miles away or is it really close? Because it's one or the other, isn't it?
4 miles?
I don't know.
You could swim there in 2 seconds.
No, David Williams is already on the way. I have no idea.
It's not 4 miles.
Why not?
Why would it?
Places could be...
That would just be Senegal then, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily.
It's like 4 miles, like an island 4 miles away.
They're not the British, you know. They didn't just... Yeah, they're not the British. They didn't just put a flag in everything they found.
Because isn't Cape Verde part of the EU? Because it's owned by Portugal, isn't
I think it is, yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be the biggest migrant hotspot. Imagine if Cape Verde was just 4 miles away from Senegal. That'd just be like... They'd make Lampedusa look like nothing. Hold my beer,
Shabana
Lampedusa.
Mahmood's already there
Here
handing
comes
out
Cape
water.
Verde.
Yeah,
4
Shabana's
miles
handing
away.
out water on the beach.
Try more like 400.
Oh, right, OK.
385 to be exact. 4 miles.
See, for me in my head, it was either going to be really stupidly close or very far away.
Isn't like territorial waters 12 miles?
I have no idea. I'm not a sailor. Don't answer that question. Don't go down that path. I can see the gears going very quickly there.
Right.
Gawain.
Gawain, here to rescue us from our nonsense. Good morning, Gawain. How are you doing, my love?
Good morning. Wasn't Cape Verde Fernando Poo?
What?
What?
Fernando Po? Or did you say Fernando
Yes.
Poo?
I don't know who that is.
Who knows? You're
think that's
looking
what
so
Cape Verde used to be called.
English.
Yes.
You're looking like a countryside idyll, Gawain. Braces, look at that hat.
Yes.
Amazing.
You're about to be cancelled at the National Gallery at any moment.
That is, it's got colonial fashions going on there. Lord Ali hasn't reached Gawain's owner's wardrobe yet.
It's all right. The man from Del Monte here.
Yeah.
Oh, it is like the man from Del Monte. Right, let us talk about... What do we want to talk about? Let us, first of all, talk about an early by-election, shall we? An early by-election, early general election. Or I would say a right-on-time general election, because if you really want to just, I don't know, completely change who's in charge of the country and what you're going to do, we probably should have some degree of democratic recourse, don't you think, Gawain?
Yeah, I think we should have a general election as soon as possible. Yes, but it's probably not going to happen. We have no constitutional reason to have one. We have no moral reason not to.
But, I mean, do you not think politically, you've been in the game of politics for a very long time, that Andy Burnham is likely to benefit from a bit of a Burnham bounce? That you always have that honeymoon period when you're first in office, and, you know, if they were, you know, sensible and had rigged up a good campaign, they might return a smaller majority than they currently have, but potentially a bigger majority, or get a better result than if they waited when the proverbial hits the fan.
I think, one, in the modern world, honeymoons are no longer 6 weeks in Torremolinos. They are a wet weekend in Wigan. But even with a bounce, they're not going to get a majority. But there will be a bounce of some sort. But I don't think it'll last long, because right now he would have to... Currently, he is not constrained by the manifesto or the King's Speech or anything. Constitutionally, he has no reason to follow any policy the Labour's been following up till now, which means the country has actually had no say whatsoever in the governance of itself, which is an interesting perspective. But constitutionally, that's perfectly right. Our constitution is such that it is governed by our own sense of restraint. And this government does not have a sense of restraint, and the governing class has no sense of restraint, because they know they are good, they know they are right, and they know that people who disagree with them are both evil, stupid, and contemptible. So they will do what's in best interest of them. I think that come the autumn, the wheels will already be coming off. The sort of restraining nuts and bolts, keeping their wheels on, will be loosening already, because, frankly, the economic situation is so dire, that where we're at is so bad that there's not much he can do about it. And his backbenchers want bloody socialist red meat. He can't increase the welfare bill because there's no money there. And so what I suspect we're going to find is not to have a general election, though we should, but we will see a great deal of constitutional meddling. and a great deal of culture war, because he can't do anything serious. So to keep the backbenchers happy, he's got to throw them chunks of socialist red meat, which is culture war and constitutional meddling.
Oh, goodness gracious me. I mean, I think the digital IDs are going to come back, all these Fabian things.
Yeah.
Yay! But my question, though, is how on earth, you are a Reform UK board member, how on earth does a party like Reform, which is comparatively still a baby party, a toddler perhaps at this point, gearing itself up? Because if he turns around and makes an announcement, let's say tomorrow, that he's going to call a general election and sets the timetable for, say, a couple of months hence, that leaves you the huge uphill struggle to find candidates. That leaves you the huge uphill struggle to generate policies. I mean, for them, it's easy, isn't it? Because they would just say to sitting MPs, well, you just recontest your seats. You wouldn't necessarily have to get a whole new slate of candidates or use the ones that they rolled out in the last election, maybe, I do not know. And then the Fabian Society, no doubt, would just hand them a massive dossier and say, this is what your manifesto is. How prepared are Reform UK to face a national plebiscite?
I think we're pretty much there. We're not 100% there, but come the time, come the nan, if that is what is required, that is what we will have to be. And we will be there and we will be fighting. What I think is extremely interesting is if you look how we have performed in local government, beyond the headlines of a couple of defections here and there, but actually doing the job on the ground, we arrived with very little experience, very little knowledge, and we've got on been reducing budget overspend, been reducing debt repayments, been maintaining the services, cutting ideology out, which is a marvellous thing, and just getting on with the job. And I think what we've seen there, people who were theoretically not ready to govern have got into the position, green behind the ears, and have got on with the job remarkably well. And actually doing remarkably well, getting on with the officers who are now discovering that they themselves can do their jobs of serving the public with having the political backing to get on and do it properly, rather than constantly being terrified that they're transgressed in some bizarre, unfashionable way. So I'm confident that we'll be ready.
One of the things that's being sort of discussed in the sort of chattering Westminster gossipy columns at the moment are potential divisions within Reform UK between what is being perceived as a sort of more cuddly, dinner party friendly Tories who have defected across, and the sort of more pugnacious and spicy tone of Zia Youssef. Tell me about these divisions and the defections.
I think largely it's one great meh. The policy platform there isn't a divide. And there's been minor disagreements on sort of where to dot an I and where to cross a T, but it's not significant. There's a different style, but you know what? People have different styles. But if I'm just by Jesus College Chapel here, in the choir there, you'll have bass, you'll have treble, you'll have alto. They're all singing the same tune, but they sing with different tones and at different speeds and different beats to come with a decent tune. And you can't expect people with different characters to say exactly the same words on the same policy.
Did you think all of the Conservative defections were worth it? Because it certainly put some people off. It sort of set a lot of people down the path of saying, well, what is the difference between you and the Conservative Party? Accusations that you are establishment. Some people in there obviously have political baggage from times that they served in the cabinet. Do you think that all the defections were wise?
I would say that, for want of a better comment, say we get 400 seats at the next general election. We do really well, we get 400 seats. Of that 400, maybe 20 will have been Tories in the past. I think we can cope with that number of people who do have experience of being in senior ministerial roles, who do have experience of running departments. This we're going to need, but it's going to be a minority of our people by a long chalk. And I think the energy that other people is.
Oh, got a little bit of a dodgy signal there. We'll see if we can get Gawain sort of rigged back up. We were doing so well there. I see you sitting outside feeling very proud that we had a decent signal. I was like, well, that's good. That's a keeper. That looks like a bit of 4G working.
And then I remembered that it's the UK, so therefore our network system is a boring.
My mate was telling me why it is so bad here.
It's the army, isn't it?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. So we are the worst in the world. But one of the reasons is because, the army block out certain, like the MOD block out certain channels for their own communications. OK, I'm on board with that, fine. But also because we were going to roll out all of the Huawei, weren't we, to build the infrastructure, and then everyone just went, no, what are you doing? China shouldn't be in charge of our communications infrastructure. And so that was just sort of binned, and then nothing's replaced it.
Yes. Is anybody surprised?
Anyway, so that's why, basically, you get no signal.
Oh,
right,
it's
so
terrible.
if we got Gawain back. He's back. OK.
Excellent.
There he is. There is the lovely Gawain. Right, let us now talk about some of the other big issues that have been facing reform. People have been saying that Nigel looked absolutely knackered doing the media rounds when he was having to discuss the 5 million. What's gone on here, Gawain? I've been in politics long enough to know skullduggery when I see it. I still find it quite interesting how that bit of information got into the newspapers.
Well, yeah, but it did. There's no point in complaining about it once it's happened. It may have been disreputable, but nobody in the public will give a hoot that it's disreputable. So you just deal with the reality as it does on the ground. It doesn't justify it happening, but if it has happened, there's no point in whinging, is there? It's just you're barking at the moon.
How's he going to play this? How do you see this? Because, to me, it's very obvious. I look at the playbook, what they did against Boris Johnson. It's, sort of echoes what happened with lawfare against Donald Trump. And it's been handed to the watchdog, the political standards watchdog, parliamentary standards watchdog, and it'll be up to them now if it goes to the committee. You can bet your bottom dollar if they decide it needs to be referred to the committee, then it's slam dunk. It's going to end up as a by-election in Clacton. How harmful is that going to be if it comes to pass? And does Nigel think that it's going to work out? Does he think that actually the parliamentary watchdog is going to look at the evidence before them and go, actually nothing to see here? Tell me, what are the discussions happening within the party about this?
As far as I understand, Nigel and the team are confident that he's done nothing wrong and believe the standards body will say so. But we have to understand that they are a deeply impartial body and only ever act in an impartial fashion. And therefore, we must hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So that's what I'd do.
So this is the watchdog itself, the sort of quango element of all of this, rather than it going to the committee?
Yes.
And
that is absolutely the case.
So, the other conversation is that he and this has come from Reform UK's former chair, David Bull, who, of course, used to sit here in the studio, saying that Nigel should take a break from politics. I actually had a journalist message me the other day going, is he all right? How's his health? There are definitely people pushing this narrative that Farage is exhausted. I don't know, Toby, did you press the magic button? You did, OK. So, dear viewers, if there's a sudden bit where you don't hear anything for a while, it's because Gawain, 18 minutes past 11 in the morning, thought he was down the boozer with us and decided to use some particularly florid language that Ofcom does not approve of.
OK, sorry about that. But basically, go away. Now, I believe that in every life, a bit of time off is valuable and useful. I think that we're coming to the end of term. I don't think it's going to happen immediately, but I think it's important that have a leader who is committed and ready and raring to go. He works. His work rate is beyond anything I've seen in politics in any party. So having a couple of days fishing in the Channel, do it, mate.
Yeah, it's funny, actually, because you and I obviously both know Nigel extremely well, and this is what people don't understand. Their energy is insane. He does everything. He is... there's no other leader. I think he probably made, out of all the party leaders, the most appearances in Makerfield. He went through the local elections of doing rallies on a sort of a lunchtime and an evening up and down the country, as well as building up the party from the bottom up. I mean, Starmer's life, even as Prime Minister, probably involves about 50% of the work that Nigel does.
But that does mean that every now and then a chap needs some time off. And as I say, what was great in the past, before universal phone coverage of both into the Netherlands and start fishing for bass, and nobody could phone him for 7 hours. And that was a superb thing. But sadly, these days, he does that, and people can still get hold of him. And he has this horrible tendency to pick up the phone rather than actually take some time off. So what I think David was merely saying is that if we're going to have an election in the autumn, we need to be absolutely ready. We need our prime figures rested and ready to go, because it's going to be quite the whirl. And that's all David was saying. And that's, to me, it's no big deal.
And how is David doing? What happened there? That David was chairman 1 minute, and then there was this sort of, very quick switch to make it Lee Anderson, and not really much explanation given.
He also was, having worked his socks off during the campaign, was tired. Really tired, and hadn't been well, and so Nigel said, "I don't want to have David's life on my hands." He wouldn't forgive himself, so he needed to take that down. And also, the fact is that Lee, being in the House and being who he is a better position to get a grip of the system and the structure as it grows. And it looks likely that there will be a by-election down in Suffolk, which is David's own home constituency. So getting him focused and ready to fight that if it comes up, and getting him into the House of Commons is something that we're very, very keen on doing.
Gawain, thank you ever so much for your candour as always, and your sartorial elegance, of course, the brilliant Gawain Tola. There's no one really like him.
No, he's one of the best people in British politics.
One of the best people.
Yes,
really.
yeah. Also, he has one of the best quotes ever. If you see a poll you like, ignore it.
That is a good...
It's a great quote.
It's a great quote.
And I've used it many times. In practice, and saying it. He's very quotable. Yeah.
I remember once when we were sort of sitting back in the UKIP days in the press office, and he used the word pettifogging.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, that is just such a...
You learn a new word around him every day.
Gawain is like a walking thesaurus. I thought I was good, but Gawain is like,
Because it's always some kind of really oldie-worldy word as well.
Yeah, it's like calling an umbrella a bumbershoot.
Yes.
Which is an old name for an umbrella, believe it or not.
And like Dumbledore is a bumblebee.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Ooh. There you go. See?
We could next week we do an etymology quiz. What does this weird word mean?
Yeah.
Farthing-faced tit is an old description of David Cameron.
It sounds like a local pub.
Right, shall we?
Yeah. Tension bed.
What was the score the last time England played Panama? Which was in 2018, apparently.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because, of course, we're playing Panama. Was Gawain wearing a Panama hat then?
Yes, he was.
Do you think he's wearing it for that,
Unlikely.
Anyway, what was the score the last time England played Panama?
Kind of vaguely remember this.
I love the fact that you're actually looking like you're thinking.
No, because I kind of... No, I don't, but I'm trying to think of what... I've generally no interest in it.
Go into your random number generator when you think how far away Cape Verde is from Senegal. Apparently Cape Verde is an independent sovereign country who gained full independence from Portugal on the 5th of July 1975. So there you go. Thank you for that. Right, answers coming up after this.
Andy Burnham just drove through there on his way to the palaces of Westminster to be sworn in as an MP and, of course, on his route to number 10.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Tension bed.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
We sort of like leant into it and talked on it right. And we managed for some reason to get exactly the same voice out on that.
Yeah, that was odd. I feel like we were also in the Thriller video. You know? Yeah, a little bit. There you go.
I think what we should do is try and psychically connect every tension bed and
Is
see
that
if
a
we
good
can get
idea?
a similar tension bed. No,
We're
it's not.
basically the same person most of the time, so I don't think that's a good idea.
It'd be interesting. No, but that's when we'll start accidentally doing foreign accents and then we'll really get into trouble.
No, you get into trouble. I know when to not do a foreign accent.
I can only do one foreign accent.
No, you can't.
What, you think I can do more than one?
No, I don't think you can do any.
Well, I vaguely, where I lived in Ghana, can do a Ghanaian accent, which is probably the least
Yeah.
permissible one to do. One of the least
Claire from
permissible.
compliance is just having a hot sweat to come
At the corner of my eye, I can see Sophie just shaking her head at me through the glass. Oh, yeah? I'm going to get your finger over that dump button. Here we go. No, I'm not going to do it. Don't you worry. Right, what was the score the last time England played Panama?
I went 3-0 for England.
6-1.
Oh.
Assuming that went to us.
Yeah.
But, good luck, Panama. You're going to need it. Right. Should we do some messages and then take a call?
Thanks, that sounded so ominous when you said that.
What?
Good luck, Panama. You sound like a Bond villain.
Good luck, Panama.
Yeah. Yes, Miss.
I want to know a bit more about Panama, actually.
I only know about the canal.
Should we take it?
Oh, God.
I sometimes think that, you know, it'd be quite a fun game rebuilding the empire. What should we have?
Yeah.
Was it ever part of us? Probably.
Did we ever let it go?
Did we ever? Is it America's now?
Well,
Didn't they rename some the Gulf of Mexico? Like
the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Dan from Kent says, this Churchill memorial being taken down by the lefties. Where? Which Churchill memorial? I don't know.
I will look.
Because he caused famine in India. Need to understand Churchill diverted aid ships from India to North Africa to feed starving troops. This cherry-picking history needs to stop.
Agreed. It's one of the most underreported bits of that entire story because it ruins the narrative.
At the National Gallery, did you say?
I was going to say, is it the National Gallery thing?
Ah, there you go. It was. Oh, because he caused the Bengal famine. Oh, just get over it. Manchester is a relatively successful city because it's attracting private investment, and that is thanks largely to three things. The world's biggest broadcaster, the BBC, relocating much of its operation to the city, raising its profile. That's Salford, technically.
Technically, it's Salford,
yeah. Being home to two of the biggest and arguably the biggest football team in the world, that is also
That's true.
Plus having the UK's largest student population in the UK outside London, with many of those students deciding to stay in Manchester after graduating because they've been priced out of buying a home in London and the South East. All of this was happening well before Burnham was elected as mayor. None of it is down to devolution, nor can it be replicated in other northern towns and cities.
100% agree. Andy Burnham is living off the actions of other people. Most of all the economic benefit that came to Greater Manchester was put in place before Andy Burnham. So he's been riding the coattails of much better people.
By and large, if you want to see a place's economy grows, you basically need to get rid of government, get rid of red tape, get rid of, ridiculous elected officials and bureaucracy and just go, crack on.
Yes, that.
Which is
literally
not really what devolution does.
No. But the university actually plays a huge factor in this, by the way. The Manchester University is a world-renowned one.
Yeah, and you've got Man Met as well, haven't you?
Yeah, and the football
Salford
team.
University.
Yeah.
Alma mater of Richard Tice, believe it or not.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's a good fact.
Interesting factoid. I like to bring them. Norway is doing the Viking rowing around the US and in the stadium. What, around the US?
Like, literally around
Like, on a boat, like a dragon boat going around it, are they?
Oh, is this on land or on sea?
I don't know. It's doing the Viking rowing around the US and in the stadium.
Oh.
So I don't know whether that means that they are actually sort of circumnavigating the US in dragon boats. I'd love it if so.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be very cool. The Viking-like player you refer to is Norway's Erling Haaland.
That's a great name.
Kieran says, listening to you two trying to discuss football is hilarious. Alex, you liking the Vikings and asking if Norway are in it? Lol. Yes, Norway are in the World Cup, and the player who looks like a Viking is Erling Haaland. Well, we know that now.
Yes.
But come on, like, certain countries are not in that I thought were in. Italy.
Oh, yeah.
Not there. We've discussed this one.
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Really?
Yeah, not there.
Oh.
I know. Like, got a bit wonky, I assume, over in those parts. Dan from Kent says, Starmer could call an emergency budget before Burnham takes over and put tax up. This would either give Burnham a head start to a more socialist society, or if he scraps it, he will look good in the eyes of the taxpayer. Payer. We're going to see a lot of playing politics. Well, there's always playing politics.
Yeah.
There is no just politics anymore. Everything's just playing.
Well, politics was always playing politics. It's why politics is a dirty word.
And then, let's do a call.
Yes.
Let's speak to wonderful Wendy, who is in Kendal, land of the mint cake.
Oh, yes.
Hello, Wendy.
Emily.
Hiya, Wend. How you doing, my love?
No, I've not been well, actually, I'll be honest.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's been troubling?
Chesty thing. It's a bigger chesty thing than the one I normally have.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. Well, I hope you are being looked after by our NHS effectively. What's on your mind today, Wendy? Sorry, what's that, Wendy?
I've been looked after by my son who lives with me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What's his name?
Hello.
Listen, Wendy, my darling, we'll see if we can get a better line to you. In the meantime, shall we do a fun little voice note? We've got a voiceo.
Yes, let's
Right, here we go. This is Kelvin.
Good morning, Alex. Just a quick one on Andy Burnham. I think you really need to come and look around Manchester and look at the amount of homeless people that are about. And biggest part of them, there's nothing wrong with them. They've got no mental health issues or any health conditions or whatsoever. And because they've got nothing like that, they don't qualify to get a house or get put up in an HMO or anything like that. But the little gits come over in the boats. As soon as they get here, they get everything. You know, it's disgusting. And Burnham wants to be Prime Minister of this country. Just have a look at the state of Manchester. It's all right, people coming on saying how good it is. Nobody tells you how bad it is, do they? But just come on, come over in Manchester and have a good look round, talk to the homeless people, get the true picture of Andy Burnham's Manchester.
Yeah, I used to live in Manchester.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Factoid, where haven't I lived? This is always the running joke, isn't it? Like, obviously. Obviously I've lived there. I mean, it was really vibrant when I lived there, sort of 2009 to 2012, I think, was my era. In Gorton and Denton. That was my constituency.
Yeah, I was going to say Piccadilly Gardens, which is like the main central bit, realistically.
The tram bit.
Yeah, is absolutely horrific. It's dangerous and nobody feels safe there. You've got people walking around. Do you remember Spice? Where these very, very strong drugs where people walked around literally like a zombie. Yeah. And, it is not nice. And this is what I always said. Andy Burnham, in the by-election, should have been opening his mouth to explain the decline of Greater Manchester every single time.
Particularly, I can't remember seeing him say or do anything.
Yeah.
There was a lot of focus on the comments made by Robert Kenyon about Carol Vorderman. There was then this sort of last-minute flurry of focus about Restore Britain because all the leftists were desperately hoping it split the vote. And all we had of Burnham was some vibe speak and an emoji.
Yeah.
Which is basically what our politics is now, just infantile, facile, puerile.
Yeah, definitely.
Me up.
Which is why, if you run the way I would do the Greater Manchester mayoral campaign is literally start now. Walk around the constituencies, each ward or whatever, and go, well, that was Andy Burnham, that was the Labour Party, that pothole was the Labour Party, that Mr GP appointment is the Labour Party. You have to start campaigning now, because the Labour Party are going to lose quite a share of the vote, but they are probably going to win it.
I thought the latest polling actually showed Reform doing quite well.
Yeah, basically everyone's leaving Labour and gone straight to Reform, because there's not really a Tory vote in Manchester, obviously, so it's... that's what they need to start doing. Literally, wander around the constituency and say, that is Andy Burnham, that is the Labour Party. That's what they should have done in Makerfield.
Yeah.
So, like, literally so every time the Labour Party candidate, I can't remember what the name name is, has to explain themselves rather than kind of talk about the future and talk about other things. They should be consistently explaining the decline, not being able to talk about the opportunities or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the way they should have done it.
Indeed, there you go. If someone's looking for someone to run that strategic campaign, there you go. Pete Barnes is ready and waiting. Amanda has messaged saying, Nigel Farage's health, he must be exhausted. Not only for long campaigning, but death threats on top. I'm sure he will recharge during the summer break and return refreshed to continue his political life's work. I'm sure he will as well. Now, if you want to send us a message, the number is 03444991000 on WhatsApp. You can also leave us a voice note. That is also the number to dial if you'd like to have a chin wag with us at some point during the show. You can call at any point. We'll take down your details and we will dial you back. 87222 is the number. If you'd like to send a text message, you've got to write the word talk before you send the body of your text. Everything is your normal network rate, so it doesn't cost you any more. You're not going to have any nasty surprises on your phone bill. Well, not from us. Everything else is your own fault. Try explaining that one. Right, OK. Oh, hold on.
Tension bed.
What day does Wimbledon start?
I feel like this is a trick question.
Why would it be?
I don't know. I just...
It doesn't start? No, it is starting. When? Yeah. OK, answer coming up after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Tension bed. I'm not sure if George the Disciples do this deliberately.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Right. When does Wimbledon start?
It's on Monday, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
29th of June, says he. Which is Monday.
Which is Monday, yeah.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the old tennis?
I love tennis. I love Wimbledon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I usually go, actually. This is the first year I've not got tickets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, are you one of those weirdos who does that tent thing, camping to get in to watch?
No. I buy the tickets and I queue like a normal person. Like I go camping. I'm a little camp, but I don't do camping.
I've never been. How annoying are the people?
It's quite funny if you treat it like you're like on a safari. You imagine everything under the David Attenborough narrative, like, and then the posh guy moves across the court.
Right, see, this is it. I'm not that interested in tennis anyway. I'm just not. That's not to say it's a bad sport, but it's just...
It's like horse racing. It's not really about the sport, it's about the day out.
See, horse racing is more interesting because there's a real risk of death and maiming, which is what I live for.
Have you not seen how hard the ball boys get hit with the tennis ball?
But I've not seen death and maiming at Wimbledon.
It goes pretty quick.
But, not quick enough. Yeah. But, you know, horse racing, you put bets on, it's picking your horse by its name, the number, blah, blah, blah. That's quite fun.
Consider it more like a day out at Lord's or something like that.
By and large, when I've been down the races, sort of stand down and stuff like that, it's a good crowd. You get the posh lot, you get the non-posh lot, and everyone's just getting drunk together, having a good old time.
I like it with the posh lot and the non-posh lot, so they have to meet each other in the kind of weird bit.
But I've always got this sense that there's a lot of people who go to Wimbledon just to say, I've gone to Wimbledon.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely those people.
And those people really upset me.
Yeah.
Like, at all sporting events, when they're there with their sort of, like, special fashions, doing the pouty photographs and their designer sunglasses, and that's when you wish an errant ball went at 250 miles an hour and biffed someone.
I always thought the worst bit was when they all clapped for, like, Jonathan Van Tam and all the others, you know, over COVID. They got a rounding. Yeah, they did. They all gave them like a standing ovation. I was like, ugh.
Does Cliff Richard still, like, you know,
keep his
brown skeleton onto the
David Beckham
seats
usually
and
goes.
Do his singing?
Yeah, David Beckham. Bradley Cooper usually goes, the actor. It's quite a celebrity thing, I have to admit.
That's what I mean. It's got a bit posy like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
CNBC.
Yeah.
Right. OK, let us now talk to Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum, Emma Trimble, the wonderful Emma. How are you doing, Ems?
Good to be with you, Alex.
It's always great to have you. Do you go to Wimbledon?
No, I've never been. I actually don't really understand the rules of tennis. So I feel like I'm missing out on something, you know, that happens every year and everybody seems to be so interested in it and they all wearing their nice outfits and going along to it. And I don't really understand it. But I'd like to.
It's fairly easy. You know, you hit a ball and you hit it back and they're supposed to go over the net and stay within the white box, basically.
But the scoring system's so confusing. What's love? What's that all about?
Well, that's a bit deep.
Love is nothing.
You explain it to me.
That felt like a sort of Camus moment. Love is nothing.
Yeah.
Love is nil. Anyway, then we're not here to talk about Wimbledon or, you know, potential Camus tropes. We are here instead to talk politics. Let us talk about whether we should be having an early election in this country. I'm guessing you're probably going to be of the position of, well, yes, obviously. But do you think it's going to happen?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I think it's very difficult it would be very difficult for Andy Burnham to justify not having one, given that he's campaigned on a platform of change within the Labour Party. He doesn't have the mandate of the country. I mean, this government was elected on a historically low share of the vote anyway. So it doesn't really have a sort of general mandate from the public, even though it won the election by a reasonable landslide. But that was out of anger more at the Conservatives than a victory of the Labour Party. And so now that Andy Burnham has, as I say, run on this platform of change, we don't have a presidential system like the US. And it is a problem, I think, that we are constantly changing prime minister. It doesn't look very good on the world stage and it leads to instability here at home as well. But he doesn't have that mandate from the country or necessarily from the party as well. So I think it would be very difficult for him to avoid calling an early general election. But at the same time, it's quite early for him to do that. He would only really gain 2 years because we're not really even midway through this current parliament or this current government's term. So he wouldn't gain a great deal in terms of time from doing that. The other side of it, I think, is whilst I think many of us would like to see the opportunity for a sensible government to get in, I wonder whether or not a little more time to prepare might be in the benefit of ensuring that we get a government that is actually able to deal with this situation hands-on, hit the ground running like Trump did in his second term. That's what we all want to see. We want to see the illegal migrant crossings getting under control. We want to see this death spiral being turned around. And I think maybe a little more time might benefit that. But as I say, he doesn't have a mandate, and I think it might be inevitable.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually think it benefits the Labour Party most to go early and disbenefits, like you're saying, I think on some level it disbenefits the other parties because, as you said, I think they'll get the highest banks. Give it more time. Everyone else can then prepare for the general election. At the moment, you're looking at a situation where Reform, looking at polling, can't get a majority. There will be a Burnham bounce, and also it just sort of gets in there and has some form of a plebiscite before the proverbial really hits the fan, which economically is almost sort of, you know, writings on the wall with that one.
Oh God, what if they win and then we have another 2 years of a Labour government? It would be an absolute disaster. Because let's be honest, I mean, Keir Starmer was bad. Andy Burnham is going to be a lot worse.
Well, it wouldn't be, if there's an early general election and they won, it wouldn't be 2 years, it'd be 4, potentially up to 5 years, wouldn't it? Which is,
quite.
When you think about that, terrifying. Let's talk about Kemi Badenoch, who's sort of, I think her standing is going up largely because of sassy comments at PMQs, because we do live in vibes politics now. You don't really have to do anything but make a very sort of viral clip, and there you go. And one of those sort of viral clips has been talking about how Andy Burnham will be its first ever, the Labour Party's first ever woman Prime Minister. This is, of course, Badenoch going back to her favourite subject, which is the culture wars and particularly gender identity. I mean, what do you think of these sorts of things? And when she was blasting him for being a black T-shirt and eyelashes, did you find it, is it funny? Is it the sort of, you know, is it entertaining? Is this the right way to play things? Are we just sort of living in clown world now?
Well, he does have eyelashes to die for. I think many women would be jealous. But I do think Kemi is doing a better job. I think most of us who work in politics do lament the fact that politics has become so unserious, that we have a serious sort of mediocrity crisis in Parliament and in the upper echelons of this country's leadership. But, you know, Parliament has a great tradition of jokes and satire and ribbing, and I think that Kemi having a laugh here is another sign, I think, really, that she's kind of coming into her own. And I've said this before, you know, Kemi has a Conservative Party problem. She's doing a good job, but the problem is that the government, the electorate, sorry, are not really paying very much attention to the Conservative Party anymore. They have been replaced in the political imagination by the Reform Party. They've lost such a great degree of trust among the electorate that it's you know, it's flogging a dead horse. But she is doing a very good job, and this is headline grabbing. It's getting people to pay more attention to the Conservative Party, and it's having a bit of a joke, not just at Andy Burnham's expense, not just at the Labour Party's expense, but it's also making a serious point too, which is that, you know, for all of their talk of being progressive, the Labour Party hasn't actually had a female leader. And as you know, Alex, you know, this is not something that matters to me very much. I think that women should be treated on the basis of their merit, not on the basis of their sex. But the fact is that the Labour Party have a problem with not knowing what a woman is. So she's making a serious point and reminding people, actually, that, you know, Andy Burnham has had this bounce at the moment. And if he is going to run uncontested to be the Labour Party's leader, he's not going to really be put under very much scrutiny for what he actually believes.
Does he believe anything, though? I'm not sure. What I hear from people inside the Labour Party is Burnham and belief don't really go into the same sentence. Finally, though, do you know what's interesting? I was just thinking there, as we were talking about Kemi Badenoch, the Conservatives have always attacked UKIP or the Brexit Party or Reform UK for being a one-man band. I think most people out there in the public can now name a good handful of people in Reform. Can anybody actually name anybody in the Conservatives other than Kemi Badenoch?
Well, there we have it. That's the Conservative Party problem, isn't it? I mean, there's Katie Lamb, there's Claire Coutinho, but really, who is there that is on the right, actually? Because some of the more right-wing Conservative MPs, like Robert Jenrick, for example, have defected over to Reform, and Kemi has been left with, you know, the Tory wets, those who have been identified as being more Lib Dem than Conservative. And like I say, the country are not really paying a great deal of attention, and it's because they haven't got these big characters. But at the same time, that might be to the benefit of the Conservative Party, because at a time when we have seen this great flux of leaders, we've seen a flux of prime ministers. If you're looking at the Conservative Party and you're seeing, well, they've got one consistent leader over time, there's no sign of her being ousted and defenestrated at any point soon.
Not yet.
And she is showing clear leadership. So that might be to the benefit of the Conservative Party.
Well, you know, the fact they haven't changed their leader in the last 2 years is a bit of a record, quite frankly, isn't it, for the Conservative Party of late. Emma, thank you ever so much. We always love having you on and your analysis. I saw you sort of shaking your head slightly at the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
The idea that Kemi's been left with the Tory wets, I think, is what I noticed you go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really do the whole wets and, you know, the hard right of the Tory party and Robert Jenrick being the saviour of everything, because it's actually taking in the... I was going back to what you were saying with Greg. Taking in the defectors is how you got Restore Britain.
Yeah.
It was the compromise. The reason reform exists is because of the compromising nature of the Conservative Party. Reform of compromise, that's why you've got Restore. And for me, actually, I think Kemi's been very smart. No one's paying attention to the Conservatives because she's letting Reform and the Labour Party take each other out. She's just sitting there and waiting. It's the best strategy for them because at the beginning, nobody wanted to hear from the Tories.
I still think that if we were to have a general election soon and Reform were to run a campaign which basically just shows all the Tories and sort of like never again, you know, Boris wave, you know, COP20, whatever it was, never. I think that baggage is still an albatross around the party's neck.
Well, you know, they're still polling at 18 to 20%. That's not a party that the country sees as a betrayer.
Well, it's interesting.
It's credibility and everything.
Yeah.
They've got the brand to a
degree.
But
we live in fascinating times.
Yeah.
Right.
Attention bed.
Here we go. At PMQs, Kemi Badenoch we sort of just discussed this. It was quite easy. Kemi Badenoch describes Burnham as blank and a black T-shirt. Fill the gap. What is he? Something and a black T-shirt. Wow. Answer coming up, as well as a preview of tonight's Football World Cup match after this.
Andy Burnham just drove through there on his way to the palaces of Westminster to be sworn in as an MP and, of course, on his route to number 10.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense. If you've got...
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, welcome back. And look, Pete Barnes has run off because he clearly didn't want to answer the last quiz question. But never mind. We will somehow play with that and do it after the next top of the hour or some such. Anyway, welcome aboard, Charlie. Charlie Pritchard. He's a Talk Sport reporter. By the way, you have a lovely cadence to your voice, I noticed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well...
No, so you're deeper when you first came in.
Oh, God, no, it's because I'm nervous, that'd be why.
See, there you go. There's the lovely cadence. I feel like you could be a thespian.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was told I should go into newsreading because of this, so...
See, you're really getting it out now. It's lovely. You'd be better in our world than at sports report. And you've got to have, like, an accent to be your chippy.
Yes, I know, just like Max Scott.
Yeah. Now, tell us, be chippy, about England versus Panama, because I know naff all about football, but what I do know is if we don't beat Panama, something's gone dreadfully wrong, considering it's a country the size of Luton or something.
Exactly. No, so, I mean, we do have good form against Panama in previous tournaments. So, remember, in 2018, we beat them 6-1. So, and that's the only other time we've played them. So, I mean, if I'm going to do any sort of predictions, it's probably a similar-ish scoreline, but now we've had news this morning that we've lost our starting right-back, Declan Rice, and Elliot Anderson also might be...
Where have we lost him? Has he gone missing? AWOL?
No, sadly his hamstring has given up the ghost again. He's got form for this. He's had hamstring issues for the last, God, I can't even remember, like it's 6 years probably, on-off for Chelsea, and now it's happened again, but this is like the worst possible time that it could happen for England.
So what happens? Is he just sort of like, you know, sent to home to go and have ice packs and surgeries, and some other character is there waiting to fill the gap?
Essentially, so he'll be taking time away from the squad, so he won't be training anymore with the rest of the squad. He's waiting on these analysis from these scans he's had to basically see, is this the end of his World Cup, or is this just a 2-game blip where he can recover and then come back into the squad? Because if he doesn't play, we don't actually have another right-back to play for him, so we'll have to...
Why? That seems a bit short-sighted.
It does, doesn't it? Considering we picked 2, Tino Livramento withdrew before the World Cup started, and Thomas Tuchel, in his infinite wisdom, decided not to bring up another right-back to fill that gap. And now the other right-back that we had is also gone.
It's also knackered,
yeah. It's a bit of a dire situation at the moment.
And so if you don't have a right-back, how dangerous is that? Because I'm assuming the right-back is the person who stops the person on the left wing from going to the goal.
You got it, exactly. So... I mean, we've been talking that this probably won't be a problem against Panama tonight because they don't really have the threat on the left wing that, say, a France or a Spain or anyone else would have.
It's so easy for someone to just be like, right, you're in that position normally, but now you're going to go to that position. I mean, it's like, yeah, fine, boss, got that. I can kick with that foot instead of this foot, and I know quite how to work. Or is it sort of, you know, footballers are very much stuck in a lane when it comes to...
Well, I mean, there are players that are very good at sort of optimising themselves around to different positions. There are a lot of players that aren't, but, I mean, I think that's sort of what he's done with his squad, is that there are a lot of players in the squad right now who have that flexibility, that positional flexibility, but they still haven't played the position for a couple months, couple years. So whilst they may know how to do it, the nuts and bolts of the position itself, whether or not they can perform and do that, it remains to be seen. We're playing Jarell Quansah, who's a youngster for Liverpool, now at Bayer Leverkusen, and he's played for Liverpool at right-back and sometimes for Leverkusen, but not really. He's a centre-back, and he's a tall lump. So
He's a tall lump.
So we'll have him at right-back, and I don't know, maybe it limits us in terms of speed and in awareness, for sure. Look, it all remains to be seen, but Panama's a great game to test that out. It's just...
So, I mean, there's sort of, an option for this game, so Tuchel can look at, the players he's got, how he's played so far, look at what was right against Croatia, look at what was sort of a bit languid and lacklustre against Ghana, and then sort of, because it's a country that we'd expect to be, move people around, do a few experiments, see what feeds well into what, see what strategy could work in preparation for whatever comes next.
Exactly. So, I mean, the next stage is looking like Senegal in the round of 32, which is probably quite a tricky game. They're AFCON finalists, and then won it the previous time before that. And then if we get past them, which hopefully, fingers crossed we do, we'll have Mexico in Mexico City, which will be a very tough game. Really tough.
You can't write off those West African teams. No. They're sort of body-checking, burly bad boys.
Very physical sides. Very physical sides, and it's what they rely on. And, I mean, they're skillful as well, but they generally have the onus in physicality on most teams in the world.
I wonder how much the climate affects this as well. That might sound silly, but, you'd think, but you've got the AFCON finalists, that going to somewhere like, the Americas, where it's blimmin' hot over there this time of year.
Well, we saw how it affected Scotland in Miami.
Right.
Yeah, Brazil, 3-0. Terrible, terrible day out for the Scots.
They also finish the game with sunburn?
Well, essentially.
And Dean was whispering in my ear, they're not sweet nothings, but questions, because, I've used all my good ones now. Although I would say, eat your heart out, Thomas Tuchel. Apparently I'm beginning to understand football. So what Dean says I should ask you is, how important is Harry Kane?
Well, Harry Kane is the golden goose, basically. If he wins the Golden Boot, England have a very good shot at maybe going very far in this tournament. He's won the Golden Boot before, he won it in 2018. We rely on him in output. I mean, if Harry Kane goes off injured and we have to bring in Ollie Watkins, who, in his own right, is a fantastic player, but he's nowhere near the level of Harry Kane. Harry Kane scored over 60 goals in all comps this season for Bayern Munich, and since going over to Bayern Munich, he's suddenly winning trophies, and that can only build on his confidence to go far with England as well and sort of broaden his horizons. But yeah, Harry Kane is our golden goose.
Now, if you're going to be cautiously looking into the magic crystal football and seeing how far we might go and who's looking the favourite to win the tournament at this stage, what would you answer? So far, where do you think we're going to land?
I could honestly see it going either way, but I don't think we get past the semis if we make it that far. France are a really scary side, to be honest. They've been in back-to-back World Cup finals, obviously winning one, losing one. Mbappe's still scoring all the time. I mean, and if Mbappe doesn't score, they've got another 3, 4, 5 guys who can do the exact same thing Mbappe's done. He's now got 16 World Cup games, 16 World Cup goals. No one else is scoring at that rate. He could easily take over Messi's record of 18 goals by, you know, the next game. So, I mean, I think if I'm looking out for anyone, it's still France.
Well, there you go. Vive la France. Thank you ever so much, Charlie. You better sort of climb on your hands and knees and creep underneath the camera so you can go do a sports bulletin. There you go. You've got about 45 seconds to run into that studio. Good luck. I did say to him I was going to drag it on as long as possible just because I wanted to see him sweat. This is the world of news, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you what, though, if France do have a very successful World Cup, they might rue the day. Ha-ha! See what I did there for those French speakers. They might rue the day that they ever won the World Cup at the moment, because what seems to be happening is any excuse for a load of mad migrants to go out and riot. What was the football match that happened recently? Was it PSG winning something or the other against someone or the other? Champions League, there we go. Paris Saint-Germain won the Champions League, and everyone just went tonto and started smashing the place up because, well, France, that's what they do now. So you might think that France might have a wonderful summer of celebration if they do so well in the World Cup. I think it would just be an excuse for a load of feral people to go and kick in bus stops, set cars on fire, and generally cause mayhem. So be careful what you wish for. Right, OK, well, there we go. That was me talking about as much about football as I am able to. Yes, I know Gold Star is coming my way any moment, but we are going to be switching back to politics and, more importantly, what's going on over the pond, because the fantastic Steve Gill, former White House official, is going to be joining us after this next break. Peter Barnes is going to scuttle back into the studio and we will give you the answer to the quiz question and the next one. But anyway, meanwhile, keep your messages coming in as well. 0344 499 1000 on WhatsApp. You can leave me a voice note on WhatsApp as well. 87222 on text message. Write the word talk before your message. Put the kettle on, or it's almost noon. Have a gin and tonic. See you after this.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
It's happened before, but it is nonetheless still rather extraordinary that somebody who was only elected or officially sworn in as an MP less than 24 hours ago, in 3 weeks' time, is going to be running the country.
Yes, I think it is rather extraordinary. I think the issue isn't whether someone like that should automatically have to hold a general election. If Andy Burnham wants to introduce major changes to our constitution, he's talked about overhauling the House of Lords. He's also talked about overhauling our electoral system, bringing in some form of PR. I think if he wants to do any of those things, he needs a mandate from the public to do them. To try and do them without calling an election, I think, would be a constitutional outrage.
I've got an interesting tweet. There's always a tweet, Julia.
Yep.
If I can just read this out to you from Andy Burnham 3 years ago. We need to start demanding a general election at the end of this Tory leadership election. Well. That was Andy Burnham actually 4 years ago in 2022. So we're saying stick by your word, be consistent, Andy, and when you're Prime Minister, call a general election.
The battle is really on, though, for number 11. Who's going to be the Chancellor? Ed Miliband, don't forget, has played an integral key role in this coup, and it is a coup because no one apart from 25,000 good people in Makerfield have voted for this guy. Yeah. So he's played a pretty integral role in undermining Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer and Ed Miliband aren't really speaking. He's going to want a big reward. But, he is, probably the most left-wing person in the government, and he will spook the markets.
Lou Hay, I mean, the reality is, look, she served her time. She was cast out of government. The reality is, as you said, she has been central to his campaign. She was central to his campaign in Makerfield. More broadly, she's been central to his campaign to enter Downing Street. He owes her, and she will definitely get a role. I'm not.
What do you say to the people that have texted me in their droves this morning? This is a really a corny sentence, but it's true. That lawbreakers can't be lawmakers, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, but the reality is she's going to get a job. So the answer is yes, they can.
across the UK. On DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is Shots music.
That's Shots music?
Yeah, I think it's Shots, yeah. And also, as you get further into the night, that's when shots become a terrible idea, therefore you do them.
Are shots ever a good idea?
No, we call it the time of death moment.
Do you know there's this thing about rural pubs that I've
Yeah.
noticed, a funny rural pub trend. If you're in London and someone comes up with an idea of getting the old shots out, it's normally sort of, tequila
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Patron, whatever.
Yeah.
That is a form of tequila, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's the sort of general style. There's something about rustic rural pubs that they go for the baby Guinness every time.
I love a baby Guinness. I do. Kahlua and Baileys.
I mean, they are nice.
They are lovely.
They are lovely.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't. If you've had a load of lager, or it's not. It don't mix with other things.
No. To be honest, yeah, they don't really mix with anything.
What happened to you? Because when I worked in a nightclub back in the day, Interaction in Gloucester,
Yeah.
in with two N's.
Interaction.
See what they did there?
Wow.
Yeah, we used to have sort of dress-up theme weekends.
Oh,
We'd have
God.
to go as sort of like the naughty secretary and stuff. My checkered past. When I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar.
all right.
Because I did actually make cocktails. Where was I going with this? I can't remember. The nightmare back then in the noughties was blimmin' Aftershock.
Yeah.
Because, people were always on that stuff, which was basically just brightly coloured glue.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the night, you'd be sort of trying to, pour drinks and lift things off the bar, and it'd be like, your hair would be stuck in it.
Yeah, because in reality, you didn't get drunk, you just got a massive sugar high and then crashed afterwards. You weren't hungover, you just had a diabetic incident.
And they've gone, but I haven't seen them around for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I've not seen whenever
Yeah,
went
the
through
Alcopop era. The Alcopop,
Yeah, and the Red Bull and... what did you put in the Red Bull again?
Jägermeister.
Jägermeister.
Do you know what's really fun? On
Yeah.
the back of a can of Red Bull, it says, do not mix with alcohol.
Does it?
Yeah.
In case of heart attack. or
Yeah,
something.
because it's a stimulant.
But I was going to say, what are the kids drinking these days? They're not.
No, they're not.
Apparently, they were very precious about things. They all live on the manosphere and can only eat chocolate bars at certain times and have to have a protein shake and... I don't know.
It's why they're all so miserable.
They're too sad.
Yeah. Just have a pint and get
Just
over
have
it.
a living pint. Be a proper man.
Yeah.
I've really got this thing now about... I'm obsessed with the words low testosterone. I don't know why, but I just sort of... It's basically all, left-wingery is just so low testosterone.
Yeah, we always used to play the game at university. Gay or European?
But they other
gay,
cultures
European
throw
or
off the
posh.
gaydar, don't they?
Yeah, gay, European or posh is a very difficult game.
I mean, do you know someone who I think is, is going to be an easy one to guess?
Go on.
Foreign culture, but are they gay or not? Let's find out. Steve
I
Gill!
knew
Hey! That was probably the worst introduction
worst.
ever. Former White House official who's always on a Saturday this time of day. And he never knows what he's going to expect.
Intro ever.
Is it?
Worst intro ever.
I mean, you're all sort of like Nashville man.
Yeah.
You're talking about your sordid, checkered past. My fraternity days at the University of Tennessee, our go-to drink at fraternity house parties was you fill a trash can with various forms of white liquor, then you pour in Gatorade so it would get into your system quicker.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is. But you can't drink until the age of 21 in America, can you, technically?
Technically, that's the story, right?
That is the story.
Yeah, that's what you told your parents.
Right, let us talk now about Donald Trump, because he's actually threatened Britain with applying 100% tariffs over essentially a tech tax. He's launched fresh strikes on Iran as well. Let us begin with this tech tax, shall we? Because this is where, essentially, Starmer's deciding he wants to ban social media for under 16. He's getting on board with all the EU's over-regulation of .com world. And most of those companies are, of course, American tech giants. Do you think Donald Trump is going to follow through with a 100% tariff on countries, including Britain, in response to digital service taxes?
Yeah, the digital service taxes have been something he's been talking about and the trade negotiators have been talking about for months now, and it just kind of slipped to the back burner with all the other things that have been going on. So I think there is a serious demand that Britain be more fair in this kind of tech services tax. I do think he's serious about that, and I think it's going to be interesting as Britain turns the page from Starmer to Burnham, will there be a better relationship between Trump and Burnham? I don't know that they have any relationship or know each other at all. It's a better situation than was the U.S. relationship with Starmer because Trump hasn't given Burnham a new nickname. So at least we're getting a good fresh start.
I have a feeling those two will actually get along because, you know, whatever one thinks of Andy Burnham's politics, he's a human being. Whereas it's hard to say that about Sir Keir Starmer at times. So I actually do have high hopes that he will have an eye on Atlanticism a little bit. But let's talk now about what's happened overnight in Iran as he's fumed, essentially, the Middle Eastern country has violated the ceasefire. I've been down in London. I've been missing the B-52s and the B-1s screaming over my house. Normally I can tell when there's a bombing about to happen because I hear them take off and land. But, I mean, I suppose this was always going to be the case, wasn't it? Where they have a sensible conversation with somebody from the Iranian administration, some beardy-weirdy nutter from the IRGC is still going to want to lob kinetic at neighbouring countries and at anything passing through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, you just fire one missile, one set of drones from some rogue IRGC commander, and you suddenly kind of slow down or stop the flow in the Straits of Hormuz. And I think that it's not unexpected that Trump responded very aggressively with the radar sites, with the missile launch sites along the coast there, and apparently did some pretty major destruction. Yesterday, you also had Marco Rubio and the Lebanese government and the Israeli government make an announcement and sign another step forward to try and do something to resolve the Hezbollah, Lebanon, Israel, U.S. conflict there. So it was a historic day. And they kept saying, and Alex, you and I have both drafted statements for these kinds of things. They kept all using the same exact phrase. It's a first step, not a last step. It's a beginning of a journey, not the end. But it is hopeful that they think they can, get something resolved there and maybe detach the, Iranian conflict from the Lebanese, Israel, Hezbollah conflict. So I think there's a lot going on there. And at this point, it seems to me that whether it's this memorandum of understanding, which is an agreement to try to reach an agreement, or this hopeful signing yesterday between the leaders in Israel, Lebanon, and the U.S., these are all hopeful steps. We're talking. But then again, one rogue IRGC commander files a missile and it could be back on.
So it begs the question, certainly in my head, if he's targeted radar sites and missile launch sites, why weren't they obliterated already? Why not just sort of, car park all of those certain assets, those locations, not touch civilian infrastructure if possible, and prevent them continuing to perpetuate this war?
I agree. And they've said that they've hit, about 80% of the military targets in Iran. Well, let's go ahead and take out the other 20% so we're not having to constantly deal with this. I do think that you're seeing the Gulf states, again, whether it's, Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, the rest, they're more on board with trying to, shelve Iran as a threat, as a bully in the region. But again, I would agree with you. Take those last shots, wipe out anything that where they are. And you got these bunker busters. That the IRGC lead commanders are hiding way underground. Drop one of those bunker busters and end them. So whoever's the second or third team of the IRGC leaders decide, I kind of don't want to get blown up either. So let's reach a new deal.
Why do you think there is a reticency in doing that, though? Because that would surely expedite a conclusion to all of this. We now learn that Iran is going to do what they're not supposed to do, breaking international maritime law by potentially tolling tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Completely typically, the UN are saying and doing nothing because, for some reason they gave Iran the sort of, rotating presidency of women's rights or something utterly farcical. So I just kind of feel like, Iran gets away with doing what it wants. The UN doesn't care at all. The US may as well follow the same process and just say, right, we're going to obliterate all of your military capabilities, really push you on the back foot. Why do you think there is a hesitancy in taking a more aggressive approach?
Now, when you're referring to the UN, are you referring to the useless nitwits?
No.
The UN, because they do nothing. Again, they've been completely uninvolved in anything significant for just about forever. I would say that the best thing that we've seen out of this Middle East conflict, and, virtually every other conflict, we haven't sent the blue helmets in to make things worse. So at least they're on the sidelines rather than trying to involve themselves. I think that President Trump has been very hesitant to take more kinetic action, particularly hitting the power plants, the storage plants, the drilling facilities of oil, because that would set back Iran even further economically and make more chaos and perhaps give even more power for the IRGC or other more fundamentalist leaders there to take more physical control. The bottom line you still have is the Iranian people do not have the weaponry to overcome the Basij, the police forces, or the IRGC. And as long as the guys with guns have guns and the protesters have voices and signs, it's kind of an imbalance. So I think if you did more destruction to the economy in Iran, it could have a positive impact, but that would also make this a longer-term problem for the U.S. in trying to get Iran pulled back into the community of nations.
Finally, let's talk about former National Security Advisor to Donald Trump, John Bolton. Now, I've interviewed John a number of times, and I used to think he was a very sensible old cove. I quite liked him. But something very poisoned happened between him and Donald Trump in the latter years of them working together. He's now pleaded guilty to mishandling classified documents as part of notes he compiled for a book. This seems to be the sort of most vogue lawfare that America uses at the moment. Trump and his house raided for the classified documents. They're in the sort of golden bathroom or something. Biden apparently was keeping hold of classified documents. Now Bolton is keeping hold of classified documents. Is this just vengeance politics? What is going on here? Explain it to me.
I think what you had was this arrogance of many of these folks thinking they could get by with whatever they wanted to do. And I think Bolton certainly falls under that category when he was being so cavalier, as Biden was, in leaving his documents in the garage where anybody had access. But I do think the fact that he has pled guilty to very serious charges, is going to have jail time, indicates this is not just some spurious litigation. He has pled guilty. What's bizarre is I've interviewed him in the past. I've spent time with Bolton in years past, and I was just on Indian TV, a network, the CNN 18, I think it was, and Bolton was one of their guests just before I came on, and I was scratching my head going, wait a minute, this guy's an indicted possible felon, and here, a week or so later, he's headed to jail, and this is who you're putting on the air because he's happy to bash the U.S., bash Trump, because he went down the path of virulent anti-Trumpism to the extreme. But I think that what he did is more important than why he's been prosecuted.
Right. I mean, what did go on in that relationship between Bolton and Trump?
Bolton was wanting more power. He was wanting, more access. And you see this, unfortunately, I think within Trumpville, that there are people that kind of are able to squirm and weave their way, closer to President Trump, get more power, and those who are denied it, get into this kind of vengeful, vindictive mode themselves and say, well, fine, if I can't be telling him what to do, then I'm going to, make sure I tell the world how bad he is and how much I hate him. And we're seeing that with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We've seen that with some of the others who've been displaced after being given positions of power in the Trump administration. I will say, though, that the biggest change in President Trump from the first term to where he is now and why he's accomplishing so many more things on all sorts of policy fronts is because in the first term, he was relying on these, moderate Republicans who really weren't on board with the Make America Great Again Trump agenda. They wanted power. They wanted to push their agenda. And I think in this administration, again, Alex, you've seen the same thing in British politics. If you're not pushing the boss's agenda, you're not, particularly in Trumpville, going to survive long under his direction. And I think the biggest thing you have now in this cabinet and with the sub-cabinet and other high positions, they're all rowing their canoes in the same direction versus, kind of like herding cats, and they're heading everywhere. I think that's why he's being more successful in this term than he was the first. And that's why you're seeing virtually no leaks. It's why you're not seeing, the big rapid exit of high officials coming out, writing books and trashing him. And again, when you get into the final 2 years of a term, you're going to start seeing more exits as they realize that they're not going to have the same access to power in years and months ahead. So you are going to start seeing some exit, I think, of some of the cabinet officials. But I don't think they're going to leave trashing Trump because his reach still extends far beyond his term.
Fascinating stuff. It's always amazing catching up with you, Steve, and we'll see you next Saturday. Do you know, it's funny, looking at this sort of like, oh, I just wanted to be close to the boss, I wanted to be a teacher's pet and I wasn't, and therefore now I've sort of gone rogue. Blimey, don't we see that in politics, particularly on the right wing? I
think you have it on the left as well, to be fair, but I think the right wing is a lot more brutal about it. I think it's just the type of people that we are.
But what is it with these sort of like ultra-sensitive men? I described the other day the sort of, you know, Ben Habib, Rupert Lowe. You know, Ben didn't win his seat in the general election, so he couldn't be the deputy leader of Reform anymore, because that became Richard Tice when Nigel came back, and that to me is perfectly understandable from inside, outside, whatever. But he didn't take it gracefully. And then Rupert Lowe, who decided that he knew better than Nigel, and was told, no, we can't do it that way, and then started making a big fuss.
Well, just to add some balance to that, I've got to throw Zia Youssef into that. I thought his tantrum on Question Time last night was a little childish, and also sitting like this the entire time, like some kind of bro jock in a very terrible teen movie. I thought came across terrible. Oh well, basically, Kevin Hollinrate, the Tory chairman, said, "Why haven't you put yourself forward to be an MP?" And in any of the by-elections, and Zia basically said, "Well, what makes you think I haven't?" And Kevin went, "Well, you haven't been picked." And then there was this really awkward moment where Zia basically may have admitted that the party didn't want him to run to be a member of Parliament.
Interesting.
Yes, and it was just the way that he comes across.
I get the impression with that one, it wouldn't be a sensible pick anyway, because he's sort of like one of their front bench characters.
Yes,
Then if he failed to win the seat...
There's also the fact that he wandered out and everybody said he was thin-skinned and a bit tired. When he was chairman, there was that moment again.
I mean, does he just do Question Time every week?
Yeah, I find it quite funny.
There's only him.
Yeah.
He is Question Time now.
Yeah, again, you know, there's not many Reform can really put on a show like that, I don't think, if I'm being honest, because he's very good at it. He's very combative, But my problem is he's a bit bro. He's a bit of the man problem that they've got, in my opinion. I don't think many women voters are very appealed to him.
They do have a women problem.
Yeah, they do have a women problem.
It is true indeed. But I do think when these guys suddenly realise that they're not teachers' pet, these alpha males, as they like to think of themselves, I know best, I've made all this money in business, I know better than Nigel Farage at politics. And I kind of think the guy's been doing it for 30 years, very influentially. Love him or hate him or feel indifferent, he's one of the biggest change makers in politics that this generation has seen. And when you get that, well, I've got a big farm and I manage a football club or whatever it may be, and you just think, but you don't really know politics in the same way. And
to
then
be
they
fair,
go,
though,
then
we
they go
do
crying.
criticise the cabinet for having no business experience, and so therefore we can't criticise the right for kind of flouting its business experience.
Well, no, I agree with that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, when I used the analogy the other day, when you've broken up with someone, you just sort of like, you know, quietly hate on them with your friends and you're making voodoo dolls.
To be honest, the fragility of the right in general is quite pathetic at the moment.
It's like,
right across the spectrum,
Look, it was the fact that Lowe was like, I'm a 68-year-old man, and they said I threatened someone much younger and fitter than me. I was like, dude, just...
Yeah, I mean, they did run to the police.
Yeah, that was bad.
I mean, that was bad.
There's just layer upon layer of whole wheat mad.
I mean, that entire episode.
All sides of that was just like, it was just watching, it was just ridiculous.
Many people thought that would be the end of Reform UK, if I remember rightly.
Stop being so sensitive and bicker. You know, sometimes in life you fall out with people. Sometimes you don't get your own way. This is politics. Grow up, the lot of you, because what really matters is the future of the country. And this is what is driving me mad. The Conservatives plotting, no doubt they're still plotting.
Oh, everybody
bickering, getting to set up a new party, beginning with Ari at some point again. No,
a small part of me is glad that Reclaim isn't a thing anymore, because that's too many R's.
Oh, yeah.
It's too many.
Yeah. It's too many.
There are other letters in the alphabet, people use them.
Exactly. But there we go. That's politics for you, isn't it? I don't know what's going on with our quiz, because we've missed bits. We'll just, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah. Tension bed.
So first of all, we needed the sort of fill in the blank. What on a black T-shirt for describing Andy Burnham?
Eyelashes and a black T-shirt. Although he had a good comeback saying it's technically navy blue.
Did you know, I find, everyone's like, isn't this funny? But I find his whole sort of like puppy dog eyes like blinking at the camera. It's just like, you want to be the leader of a G7 nation. Stop acting like a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, it's better than the last guy, isn't it?
Low testosterone. Just don't care for it. Right. Rumours have it that Meghan and Harry will return to the UK soon for a visit. Are going to go Diana's grave and something like that, and she's going to go visit a hospital. I don't know. Anyway, how old is Lilibet?
Oh. That's a good one.
Yeah. How old is she now?
I actually thought you were going to ask how old would Diana be.
We can do that one instead if you want.
I know the answer to that
Okay.
one.
Right, well, you can answer. In fact, I want the comprehensive list of the ages of all the senior working members of the royal family. There you go. Answer is coming up after the break. We're also going to be giving you a weather update because we are still within a heat wave right now, but apparently temperatures are set to drop. Are we going to get it back? Is it going to be a long, hot El Nino summer? Well, meteorologist, the wonderful Joe Wheeler, is joining us after this and we'll explain a lot of it. Don't go anywhere.
Andy Burnham just drove through there on his way to the palaces of Westminster to be sworn in as an MP and, of course, on his route to number 10.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense. If you've got...
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, thank you for that.
We're back.
We're back.
Sorry, Barnsley was just showing me a photograph of his other half.
Yeah.
Punching, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. You are indeed. Nah. He looks lovely.
Yeah.
A chef, so I know.
Yeah, I did well.
Win-win.
Yeah. Do you know, my dad always said he married my mother because she was a banker and he can't do maths.
I think it's always good to try and find someone that isn't your own skill set.
Yes.
This is the problem I've made. Every single time I always sort of, you know, I just need someone who can put up shelves and operate power tools.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a lot more practical than I am.
I
We'll
like
surprise
shelves,
literally nobody.
Power tools, noisy engines.
God, you can't take you near a B&Q, can you?
Oil under fingernails. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, calm down.
No. I don't know what's going on here.
No
We're supposed to be answering a quiz question, not sort of outlining my ideal Tinder date. Right. Rumours have it that Meghan and Harry will return to the UK soon for a visit. How old is Lilibet?
I could say 12.
12?
I have no idea.
12?
I thought they got married like 10 years ago, didn't they?
What, and then she was born before?
No, I mean, like, I thought it was a little bit more than 10 years. I don't know. Well, there's a rumour they don't even exist, so...
She's 5.
She's 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
The other one,
am I thinking of the...
Archwell is the older one, isn't he?
I'm thinking of Charlotte. How old is she?
She might be about 12.
Yeah, I think that's who I'm thinking of, because that was in the newspapers.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Hold on. We were going to tell
65.
us how old Princess Diana is. 65.
She'll be 65.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Right. Weather. Let's speak to the wonderful Joe Wheeler, who is a meteorologist. Joe, always great to have you on the programme. Now, I, for one, have not been moaning about how hot it is. I've been moaning about the fact that trains don't seem to be able to cope with anything over 30 degrees sunshine, but I love it personally. I'm all about it. I want it to stay forever. It's not going to, though, is it?
It isn't. You might be one of the only people who's glad to hear that the amber heat warning has been extended into tomorrow morning, but not necessarily for your part of the world. It's more really down towards the east. And this, of course, is where we saw the highest temperatures yesterday. 37.3. Now, I'm not too far away from where that happened in, what was the name of the place? Santam Downham. Lovely name. Wouldn't have been too pleasant yesterday, I don't think. And it was excruciatingly hot yesterday. Because it's not just the temperatures, it's been the humidity as well. And that's why we've had such extreme weather warnings, a red warning for much of the week for southern parts of the country, and a wider amber warning for much of England and Wales, now creeping its way down towards the southeast. But yes, at long last, things are starting to change. Doubtless we'll see quite a few thunderstorms if we haven't already. And then we actually get this weak frontal system going through tonight, which is going to take temperatures down tomorrow to about 24 degrees Celsius. So that's really quite a big drop, about 10 degrees. And with that, the lower humidity as well.
That's good. I mean, 24 is still T-shirt weather. You can still, you know, get in the garden, have a bit of a sunbathe. So we haven't lost summer yet. We haven't sort of, you know, it's not going to suddenly flip reverse into the summer of 2007, which was just pure rain and pure floods. But
the weather looks quite decent for next week.
And what about the long-term forecast? Because I've been reading about El Nino and this being a whopping great El Nino, and some places are going to have drought, some places are going to be absolutely bashed up by historic level storms, and that this for us could actually mean no need for the old patio heaters. You can get out in the garden and continue topping up the tan. Is that a accurate forecast?
Well, there's that word could, isn't it? What could this do to the UK? Yes, this powerful El Nino has been spoken about. Now, El Nino doesn't usually affect us directly, but like dropping a pebble in a pond and watching the ripples go out, you know, what's happening in other parts of the world does eventually affect us. This current heat wave, omega block over Europe, and this long high pressure system that's gone on, and it's breaking records right across Europe. So, yes, we tapped into that heat and we've seen those record-breaking temperatures in the south. So whilst El Nino won't affect us directly, we could be affected by, you know, the ripple effect.
Oh, I'm very excited for this. I keep saying it's El Nino summer, not even knowing what it means.
I know. You've said it so many times in the last 3 hours.
I've got quite committed to the idea that we're going to have a sort of, you know, balmy Spanish kind of, you know, long protracted July and August. Because, you know, wishful thinking, you've got to sort of put the hope and ambition out there somewhere. But, Joe, we are about to potentially get some big old thunderstorms. Who tonight needs to be thinking about bringing the cats and dogs inside in case it rains cats and dogs?
I think the eastern side of the country is where we've still got the greatest instability in the air. Currently, there are some thunderstorms coming up out of France. Now, they're missing the southeast and East Anglia at the moment, but there's no guarantee that's going to continue. So out towards the west, we've more got kind of rain, and those thundery showers most likely, I think, for central and eastern areas as we go through the latter part of the afternoon. And certainly, I mean, we have seen some spectacular thunderstorms. The one last Monday gave something like 32,000 lightning strikes. Absolutely amazing storms. So, yes, it could be a little lively over eastern parts of the country tonight. And then, as I say, I think things really start to calm down tomorrow. We're losing that energy. We're losing that heat.
So basically, it's a perfect forecast because we get to enjoy a dramatic light display if we're in the right part of the country. Then it's not going to be so hot afterwards, but it's still going to be warm enough to have a sunbathe and sit in a T-shirt and go down the allotment. And on top of that, it will rain a bit, so you don't have to work so hard at the garden. I think it's just perfect. There you go. Thank you,
You are
Joe.
the ultimate optimist.
Well,
you really
are. Sadly, at some point, winter's going to come back. So just got to, you know, make hay while the sun shines, quite literally. Joe, thank you ever so much. I do love a bit. I love summer. I'm just like, please stay forever.
No. Autumn, winter, thank you very much.
Oh, you weird little grubby, pale, warm creature.
Thank you.
There's something sick. You're a sicko.
No, I don't need sunshine to be happy.
I do.
Why?
Because it's not happy.
I never understood this. When people are like, oh, isn't it really nice? It's like, no, it's hot, it's uncomfortable. If I was by the side of a pool or the beach, very different situation.
I think I might have that sad thing, that seasonal, because, you know, I've got to have an acronym for mental illness. You've got to have one, other than nobody, and I didn't have one before.
You might be able to claim something.
So, I might get a free car.
You might get a free car.
Yeah.
Ironically, with air conditioning.
I've seen a car I really want to buy for my El Nino summer. Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, I used to have convertibles, you see, and then I sort of sensibilised, if that's a word.
No.
I got a car with a boot.
Oh, how very country.
I know.
Is it an estate?
It's a Jeep. Yeah.
Oh,
very country.
Very country.
I went that. Well, no, because it looks more like a sort of drug dealer's Jeep.
Oh, right.
Okay,
it's like what do they call it? A G-Wagon.
It's like little renegades.
Yeah.
They've got a nice face. They've got the little sort of round headlights.
Yeah, it's a
cars
G-Wagon.
need faces.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when I went to Florida, the state of some of those Jeeps they're like monster trucks. I was so envious. They've got this big exhaust pipe things that sort of come out the roof. Didn't even bother with doors because, you know, so hot there. Like
you need a ladder to get into it.
I was just walking around like, this is like...
Yeah. There is no low testosterone in most.
There's no low testosterone among the Jeep driving community of America. No,
Very
this is. I feel like this is my theme.
Yes.
You know, for life, for summer, for everything. Right. On that note. Claire's messaged, Claire is our sort of Sunday fan. But Paul Cox and I, when we have like our weird Sunday, Claire in Buckley in North Wales is like our #1 fan.
Nice.
But she says in her little town in Buckley, the go-to shot is a baby Guinness, and she's going to be on them later this afternoon.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have them in this heat. A creamy-based liquid in this heat. No.
No,
not for me. Tequila. Yeah, a nice tequila.
But a tequila rose, that's creamy based.
Oh God, no.
I quite like that.
No, grow up.
Well, no, they taste like children's medicine.
Yes, yeah.
It's sort of like some sort of
And it's also
like,
the colour of children's medicine.
What's that? What was that weird powder you used to put like Nesquik?
Oh, the Nesquik was the chocolate one.
But there was another one with the syrup.
Yes, I do remember. Yeah,
that milkshake thing.
Yes, was it?
I don't know.
Yop? No.
No, Yop's the yogurt one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't remember.
Who knows? There you go. That's your next quiz question. What is the name of that weird syrup you could put in milk as a kid? That is not the next question. Right. Do you want the next question, though? Because it's that time.
Tension bed.
This year marks 10 years since Brexit. Name one other European country that's not in the EU. I feel that's too easy.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
There's more countries out of it than in it.
Yeah. Are there? How many are out and how many are in?
Well, there's
27 are in.
27. There's 58 in Europe.
I can't do maths.
No, neither can I, but I know those two numbers.
Well, there you go. So name all of the countries.
How long is the ad break?
All of the countries in Europe that aren't in the EU.
That definitely sounds like a university drinking game that we used to play.
name those which are pre-accession states.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name the one you want to be in the EU, or the one you'd most.
Well,
like
I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No.
I'm not that cruel.
Anyway, it's too easy. Sophie, that was too easy. Too easy, Sophie. But anyway, name a European country that's not in the EU. All right, we're back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, welcome back. Right, we were doing a name a European country not in the EU. I want you to name me 10. Go, quickly. Oh, hold on.
Tension bed.
Right.
Norway.
Right, good.
Then I go Latvia. I think
I think that's in.
Are they in?
I think so.
I thought better.
I was in that European Parliament. I wasn't paying attention.
I'd go.
Hold on. Actually, I'm going to have to get a list. Let's get a Google list of this because this is the better way of doing it.
Yeah.
So, European countries not in EU. I know we're so professional. We just Google as we were.
Okay.
Right. Here we go.
Yeah.
So. Right, so
Norway.
No, Latvia's in.
Latvia in?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought better of Latvia.
Maybe so. Well, actually, this is a list of prominent European countries. Maybe Latvia's just not prominent.
Well, Ukraine, they're not in it. They're
Ukraine, not in it. Yeah.
We're not in it yet. You said there's 10. You want 10?
Yeah.
Estonia.
I think Estonia's in.
Are they a new one?
I don't know. Blimey, it's harder than...
This is actually harder than I thought it was, because again, a lot of them kind of all group together when they join, don't they? It's not one after another. It's like here's like 20 that joined.
The obvious one, the one that's infamously not in the EU.
Us.
Well, no, obviously us, yeah, that's true. There's someone else that's never been in the
rather
EU.
left in quite a dramatic fashion.
Mr. Neutral, old sit-in-the-fence country.
Oh, Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah, there you go. Otherwise, you could have Iceland, Monaco, Andorra, Liechtenstein, San Marino, Vatican City, Albania, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Oh, I thought they were in it.
Montenegro, no, what, Bos?
Yeah.
Nah, that's too tasty. That's too tasty even for Brussels' imperial ambitions.
That's
Turkey,
the next boss.
Belarus and Russia.
Yeah.
But I think the Latvias, Estonias, Lithuania, I think they're all in.
Well,
they're in.
Oh, I thought better of them.
Yeah.
Particularly Estonia.
No, they do well out of it, though.
That's true, because they're not contributing nations.
Very well out of it. When you think about it, the Poles have just, like, cashed the cheque and then said, yeah, we're going to become a bit Eurosceptic now. Borders closed.
And basically do what you want. We're not going to even pay the fines or anything.
Exactly. Played the game well.
Yes.
So, touche Poland.
Yeah.
Right. OK.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we now go back to one of our core topics of today, which is the migrant crisis and what legislation and law is going to look like around asylum. Let's speak to the brilliant David Shipley, investigative journalist. David, what we're learning is one hand giveth and the other hand taketh away. So Shabana Mahmood is taking away, potentially, putting indefinite leave to remain up to 10 years. But she is actually going to make amendments to human rights legislation in order to create more deportations, so they say, including things like getting rid of the being able to claim you're a slave, slave labour legislation, anti-slavery legislation that people are using to, on the human rights front to say this is why you can't deport me. But the most alarming of all is they've been banging on people from the old Fabian Society about legal and safe routes, and this seems to be the next thing coming over the horizon, what is being called the Ukrainian-style scheme to bring thousands of refugees to the UK, which will effectively give charities, businesses, and I think the most ominously, community leaders and community organisations the opportunity to sponsor applications from various ne'er-do-well countries around the world for people to come and live here and get them jobs and get them accommodation. And I think most alarmingly, the legislation suggests that you only have to have eyes on and look after someone for 12 months and then that's it. They live here now. What do you make of this?
I think it's terrible. And I think it's important to think about the context here, which is that, we've had 76,000 or so illegal migrants cross the Channel since Labour were elected. There were almost 1,000 last week. They haven't stopped that problem. And what they're suggesting they're going to do this autumn, when clearly the small boats crisis will still be ongoing, is that they're going to introduce another route so more people can come. And the lovely cuddly theory is that somehow, if this route exists, then that will stop people crossing the Channel on boats. We don't say dangerous routes. And that won't happen. What will actually happen is the most appealing cases will be sponsored to come over, or they'll be used to reunite family members with people already here illegally. And then the rest will just keep crossing the Channel. Of course they will. And also, it's sort of this idea that it's lovely community groups. Actually, what it will be is it will be open border fanatic charities who, in some cases, are in receipt of public funds, by the way, who will be sponsoring these people to come here. And they will also be using the courts to try and widen the definitions. And there's supposed to be a cap on these numbers, saying there'll only be a certain number ever per year. The charities will very quickly bring in lawfare under the Human Rights Act to challenge that. And what we will just create is another route which is going to bring people into this country.
We already have, essentially, an illegal immigration industrial complex, like you're talking about the immigration lawyers, the NGOs, so on and so forth. The thing that terrifies me the most, because we know that this is on steroids out there, they have weird little offices on the high street, in Bangladesh or whatever, pay this much money and we'll get you a job down the local kebab shop, and people are, basically using every single loophole to make a huge amount of money, shipping people over here, because it's a very desirable place to come, because you get here and you get a house and a phone and all those usual things. But what alarms me the most, and I think we don't talk about this openly and honestly enough, but that is what we're here to do on this programme, so let's get on with it, which is one element of Islamism without a doubt, is to try and essentially conquer a territory through demographic change, through higher birth rates. It is true, it's always been the case, and I have no doubt that there are institutions, elements, organisations, radical imams, so on and so forth, so-called community leaders in Britain, who may well have that as an agenda. And when you look at the countries that seem to be specifically ring-fenced by the UN as being, you know, places where you could automatically grant these people asylum because their countries are hellholes, guess what? It tends to be where there are a lot of Islamists. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, of course, the mass importation of Islamists is a bad thing for the country. And, yeah, of course, this scheme will be used by ethno-religious groups to bring, you know, their co-ethno-religions in. That just seems obvious. And I think, again, it's this sort of toxic combination or alliance between the kind of Islamist part of the country's population and the hard left. We see it in the Green Party, don't we? There's this kind of alliance between these two groups which are fundamentally opposed to the interests of the people of this country.
But also, I mean, if you were a terrorist organisation, we have the IRGC here, they've not been prescribed. The Muslim Brotherhood are here, they've not been prescribed. So technically, they're not terrorist organisations. But without doubt, we've got plenty of sleeper cells from Al-Qaeda, from ISIS, from Al-Shabaab, from the Taliban, you name it. If you were one of those organisations and wanted to start planning mass atrocities in the UK, this is basically an application service to bring your people over here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's trivial to get in. They can use this route. They can enter illegally. They could, you know, they can even in some cases, you know, apply through sponsored work visa routes. There are so many trivially easy routes to get people into the country that it's an absolutely national security risk. And this isn't, you know, a right-wing talking point. Jonathan Hall, the government's advisor on anti-terrorism legislation, came out a few weeks ago saying mass migration is a national security threat, and it is. And I think we are governed by people, and we have a sort of charity political class who are hooked on the idea of feeling like good people rather than approaching things seriously, and so are pursuing policies which are going to make us less safe. And, you know, fundamentally, we know the rates of criminality of men who come from these countries. This new policy will result in the rape and murder of some British people. That will happen. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Blood on their hands, and I'm glad you've put it so starkly as well. And what also concerns me is the government, yes, they're starting to use these army bases, but they don't secure the army bases, so people are free to come and go, which I think is ridiculous. But then to secure them, you'd have to reclassify them as a detention centre, and then you'd have all the lefty lawyers all sort of stopping people from facing detention and deportation. So the government is still shoving more and more and more people into HMOs. Quite frankly, I personally would rather they be in hotels than a random house down your street where there's absolutely no way of surveilling who they are and what they're doing. Yeah, and I think actually in some ways the military bases are even worse, because instead of a hotel which might have 200 or 300, you're putting, I think Crowborough has something like 1,200 at it. Each one that they're setting up is going to hold 1,200 plus all-male migrants. You know, that's a very large population of often very dangerous men to put into local small rural communities. And when you speak to people in those communities, they talk about the levels of fear they're experiencing and the behaviour that they find very disturbing and scary and how it affects them. And yeah, of course, no sensible country that's ever existed has thought it's a good idea to import thousands and thousands of strange foreign men and house them amongst your families. That's obviously stupid, and I think it's an act of willful neglect on the part of the people governing this country to do this. I totally agree. David, thank you ever so much. Always a delight to be catching up with you. The brilliant David Shipley, investigative journalist. This is the thing. We know these people coming from Eritrea, people coming from Sudan. There was a story the other day of, I think it's a guy from Bangladesh who was a paedophile, abusing kids. And the judge actually said the quiet part out loud. He said, well, look, that is in his culture. That is what he has grown up to believe is okay. I mean, look, we can have this conversation now. We know it's true. We've got empirical evidence. We've got the statistics. Every day you open the newspaper, I think there were 2 Afghans being sentenced today for raping or sexually assaulting a girl. Every single day now, it's there. You've got the pink ladies. You've had the protests. We know. You know, the Overton windows moved, the taboo is broken. We're talking about this. It is a reality. It is not far-right thugs. It's not conspiracy. And yet the government refuse to address this. It is baffling. Yeah. Baffling. Starmer has children.
Burnham, I assume, has children. Most of the people in that cabinet probably have daughters. Why on earth do they think it's acceptable to sacrifice the innocence, the security, the integrity, the culture that has buffered women for about a century now, probably longer than that, giving us equal rights to vote, to work? Why are you destroying all of it so some gnarly terrorist can ship himself in from Somalia? It's madness.
Yeah, it's because they have to then take accountability for the damage that they've done. They don't want to look at what they've actually done to the nation. That's what it is. They would just want to, they'd rather it just go away. We're the bad people because we keep bringing it up. That's what they want now, is basically they would have to confront the damage, just the basic crumbling of the nation, and the fact that they've actively put people in danger. And they will never do that. It's the same way the trans kids thing's never going away, because parents will never admit what they allow to happen.
What is crazy is they could turn around and say, look, we're in a situation where times have been difficult, blame the Strait of Hormuz and Donald Trump and COVID and the Conservative, blame everyone else but yourself, but say economically we've got to start prioritising Britain. That means we're going to really focus heavily on saying that, you know, we cannot take any more asylum seekers. That is what they did in Poland, or was it Hungary?
Hungary.
Hungary said we're not taking it.
I think Poland as well, actually.
Yeah, I think Poland said as well. And they would not only be preventing a major national crisis from getting worse, they would blimmin' walk the next election. So that's what's so mad about this. This is what is so baffling. That is the route to electoral success. That is the best thing for our prosperity and our security. That is without doubt what the agencies are saying, what, you know, the IMF might be saying. So why are they still going down the route of open border madness?
Because they're the good people and we're the bad people. It's literally, it's that childish dichotomy that they've got themselves caught in. And like I said, they will never look in the mirror and to realise that their hands are covered in the bloods of children and women who have been absolutely brutalised by their actions. That's the reality of it. It's the Lady Macbeth, the blood at the spot on their hands situation. You know, that they'll drive them insane if they actually have to confront what they've done. And unfortunately, it's up to the electorate to make them confront it.
And yet they don't. So
No.
people, because there's something
you've got
sort
to
of
be nice.
inbuilt into sort of, you know, humanity that you want the rest of the world to think you're a good and a nice person.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh, make it stop. Right, on that note, let's do the final quiz question. It's a football one again. Oh, God. Well,
What did I do to you?
Yeah, I know. Sophie's
Sophie.
punishing you.
Yeah.
It should be one of those
I'm the nice one.
It should be one of those relatively easy ones, though. Which is blimmin' 1966, you know, when we won the World Cup.
I wasn't around then.
Who did we beat?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, don't you?
No.
Oh.
Why would you think I would know that?
I thought everyone knew that. I don't know.
No, you don't know it either.
But I can read it on my screen.
I know, that's just so unfair.
All right, well, if you don't know at home, we will tell you just after this.
Starmer's old news. On to the next. There we go. That was Andy Burnham. He just drove through there on his way to the palaces of Westminster to be sworn in as an MP and, of course, on his route to number 10.
I swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God.
There was two things on that manifesto. One was a picture of Keir Starmer and the word change. Well, promise made and promise delivered in that sense. Because if he's got...
across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, 1966 and all that.
I went Germany.
Yeah, but apparently it's West
Germany. Actually,
when
I didn't think it
would
was.
become East and West?
Well, when the Berlin Wall went.
Yeah, when? Yeah, I didn't ask you when.
Oh,
I wanna know.
Berlin Wall went up, 59?
I did it.
I think I'm not sure. Because you had the Berlin airlift, which was straight after the wall. I'm not 100% sure. But my favourite thing is, do you know how it came down? A civil servant.
David Hasselhoff sang on it.
No, a civil servant filled out the wrong form. It had an administrative error brought down the Berlin Wall.
Really?
Yeah.
Ha-ha, communism, eating itself alive.
Exactly. Wonderful, the bureaucracy. Brought down the bureaucracy.
Love to see it. Right, let's wrap up the show doing some calls. Let's speak to Jason in Sheffield. Good afternoon, Jason.
Hello there, Alex. All right, Barnsley.
Hello, mate.
All right.
Yeah, what I was ringing up about, you was on about the army camps earlier, about the new army camps they're thinking about populating.
Mm-hmm.
And the one in Barnum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, I was born in Thetford, which is literally Barnum's kind of part of it, but Barnum's in Suffolk and Thetford's in Norfolk, but they're right on the boundary lines of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go to Barnum Army Camp all the time to do judo lessons. Now, the thing is, and this is going to cause problems, when you come out the front gates of Barnum Army Camp, or we used to call it Barnum Camp, and turn left, the first buildings you come across, or major building, well, it's actually the first building. Whether they built houses in between it now, I don't know. But the first building you come across is, ever guess what?
It's going to be primary school, isn't it?
It's going to be a school, isn't it?
It's actually a high school. The first building you set eyes on is a high school. And you walk another 50 yards, and they have two primary schools sort of set up in Thetford, where it's Queensway First School and Queensway Second School. You go to the first one till we rate, and the second one till we're ready to go up to high school. And they're all within, I would say, a quarter of a mile from each other. In between the school, this is the kicker, in between the schools and Barnum Camp is a playing field, a large, or the common as we used to call it, where kids play football and what have you, adults as well. And then there's a sliver in between the common where the kids play, go out, and Barnum Camp, which is thick gorse.
Right.
Now, they'll go out into that gorse and they'll hide out in that gorse and look out.
Oh,
I can tell you now, that will happen, without a doubt.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, the probability, you only need 1 in 1,000 chance of it happening for it to come to pass. And I think that we can sort of assume that 1 in 1,000 of those ne'er-do-wells who have broken into the country from, misogynistic places where paedophilia isn't really considered a bad thing, that it is, and men cooped up with nothing to do, who've had certain expectations of British society, schoolgirls who, they get to the age of 14, they think rolling up the skirt, puffing on a vape and sticking on lipstick is the best thing to do in life. What could go wrong? Ridiculous. Jason, thank you for filling us in on that information. I wonder, using that sort of thing, looking at the location of Barnum and the proximity to schools might actually create a credible basis for a legal review. Let's squeeze in Kevin, who's in Leicester. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Alex, and how the devil are you and Peter?
Very well. In fact, we're so happy because we're going off to have some summer sunshine fun at a sausage and cider festival after this. Woohoo!
That sounds absolutely fantastic. Hey, Alex, the person who's just put me through to you, your researcher or whoever, I've not spoke to her before.
Oh, lovely Kira.
Is it Kira? She's got an absolutely adorable accent. I've never spoken to her before. She's so cute.
Why is she so adorable? I mean, she is adorable. You can't see her, and I can, and, she is extremely adorable.
She reminds me of... She's like a very young version of, like, Jacob Rees-Mogg. She's got an adorable accent.
I'm not sure that I think we wandered off the realms of compliment.
That's so strange. Oh, what an adorable young lady. She reminds me of Jacob Rees-Mogg.
So, Annunciata.
Not normally the sort of combo move you'd expect, but, you know, whatever floats your boat, Kevin.
I tried. Okay, I'm moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
Quickly, there's been a bit of talk about the general election. I'm not going to get on too much about that because your other callers have said too much. But if I was a Labour supporter, I'd want one because things aren't going to go. They're going to just get pressure that they've got no mandate or anything like that in future. And now would be a good time for them to do it. In future, 6 months, a year before, going to be in a better position.
Well, this is what I agree with you. I think it benefits Labour. I don't think they're going to ever have as much opportunity for the minimum amount of destruction. But also, you're right. I do think, despite what Gawain Tola said about, no, we're ready, we've got our candidate, we've got our policies, have you?
Yeah,
I'm not sure because, you know, they're still a very new entity. And I'm not sure the Conservatives are either.
None of them. Nobody's
I don't think anybody's ready.
Only the Labour Party is technically ready because, like you said, they're just restanding candidates.
Yes.
That's the only reason they're ready. But I will say...
they've still got the people there.
Yeah, my favourite thing is actually, you'll lose a lot of Labour MPs. A big workable majority, like the size Starmer has, is actually a nightmare to keep everybody in line. If you have a smaller majority, you could actually kind of whip people, because you've shown... if this is the big... this was the problem Blair had towards the end. He couldn't control his own majority.
Psychologically and dynamically, how does it all work when you have essentially a 3, 4, 5 party race when it comes to first past the post? How much are Labour going to benefit, potentially, from Tories and Labour taking chunks out of each other? Tories and Reform. Or are they? Because I think that, you know, the Conservatives are going to have more chunks taken out of them by Lib Dems and Reform takes chunks out of Labour. I don't know.
So this is quite interesting, really.
How does it all go like that?
Well, it depends. Obviously, it depends on the model. It depends on... There's so many factors. But I do think, actually, I think you'll see a lot of reformers go back to the Tories.
Really?
Only because the Reform Party are a little light on policy, and it's the kind of the credibility. Can they actually do what they want to say? But I'm not so sure. Really.
I think there might be some Tories who've gone to Reform who might not be entirely dedicated, let's say, to the brand. But I don't know. I don't know anything, do I? Moi? Kevin, thank you ever so much for